I'm a member of the press.
I'm just trying to get in there. I spoke earlier, but I'm also a member of press. I want to support. They got a clerk to talk to me. I forget her name. It's a lady. Because I can't go up there. But I'd like to talk to her. I spoke to her about speaking, and now I've been done speaking. I left because they told me I had to leave, but I'd like to be able to film. Remember that. I wonder if there's room for the press.
All right.
If not, I'll probably have to have that lady from the clerk's office come down again, because last time I asked them, they blocked me. So it seems like the city leadership has a different idea than the security about people having access. Told me I need to talk to y'all or fire marshal about filming in there, about being able to get in there to film as press. I think I need to talk to the clerk, but she said I need to talk to y'all first. Filming. I told her to call the clerk, but she said talk to y'all.
Well, we're at capacity of fire marshal.
Oh yeah. To ask the fire marshal. It's kind of what she said too. She said fire marshal, and there was no fire marshal. She said y'all.
There's a fire marshal in there.
Yeah, I know. I just can't get in there.
Yes.
Look, it's red. Is that when it's at capacity, when it goes red there on that little thingy?
That's when it's reserved.
Oh, when it's reserved, okay. That's new.
It's been like that for a month.
Has it?
They probably just don't even reserve the room just because they already know them for the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to film, and I'm kind of trying to figure out how to exercise my press rights and still be out of jail.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, not get bullied.
I don't think you get bullied here.
Ah! You got a lot of awakening. I've been coming here for over a decade, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I've been threatened to be arrested many times for coming here. Texas flag, almost got arrested. Service animal, almost got arrested.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame.
And that guy right there with the baklava is one of the ones. The one that covers hiding his identity. He's one of the main ones. And the two short guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, them. Yeah. And then the APD does whatever they're told to do. You know, they're told whatever.
So, did you get it taken care of?
Oh, earlier, yes. Now I want to go in and film, and so I'm going through a new process to figure out how to get in to film as press. So I did get to speak. I didn't get to put the video in, but this afternoon I'll be able to go. I have other non-consent agenda items. So yeah, thank you for your help.
No problem.
So I'll just stand to the side. I'm just going to stand to the side. So we're waiting on the fire marshal to determine if there's freedom of the press today or if only other people. This one security guard was helpful. Thanks for helping, man. Appreciate it. So we got one guy that's helping here so far. That's good. There's security in there going after people hard, and I can't film it from here, guys. Sorry. But the mayor's been mad. People are talking about war, anti-war stuff, and it's just not allowed. I don't see a large contingency of counter-protesters today, but it could be there. I'm not inside. I couldn't tell you. Hope y'all enjoyed the speech earlier in the previous live stream. It was totally off the cuff. I really didn't want to speak today. I wanted to do a video. I just got out of court myself, so I'll show you. I'm dressed up a little bit, got my body cam on. Get the little cricket. Let's see. So it's really hard to exercise your rights with a city that basically bullies people for their rights. The security are going out there because they're mad about something. They're mad about somebody out there pushing something, cart or something. I'm still out here waiting on a decision. They were giving out vouchers to get back in. I don't know. If they can't have enough room for people to go to be there, then they need to just have it in a bigger venue. They need to move this to the convention center or something, just to be compliant with the law. People need access to the government because taxation without representation is tyranny. That's American history right there. Get in line, sir.
What's up?
They won't let me in.
Well,
I'm trying to exercise my press rights, but there's no press rights. So they're in there talking to the fire marshal to see if the press can get in there. That's getting ridiculous, right? So if they can't have this shit in the place that they have it, they need to move us to the convention center. It's not our problem, it's their problem.
it's supposed to be an area for the police.
It's supposed to be the whole area. You're right. You're absolutely right. Good to see you. Are they still working on it? A couple of people have come out and I haven't been able to get in. But there's a whole line of people that I'd be cutting in front of, so you have to consider that also. I may not be able to get in here and film, but there is a space for the press and they're not letting me in. Other press is in there. And they're not considered in the count, I don't think. I don't know, maybe they are. I don't really know how they're doing it because it's a secret. And there's some clapping, there was a good speech. They're saying that Palestinian flag doesn't fit, or it does fit, all right. It's a little bigger than their sign, slightly bigger. It'd be more fair to everybody if they have a bigger venue. We tried. Hello. They're actually preventing more people from going in. Wonder how they calculated that. It's too zoomed in, isn't it? I wish there was a way on YouTube to not zoom in so much. So, although people have been coming out, no one's in? What's that about?
Safety, I think. Safety and security, that's what I was told on the radio. And only speakers are allowed in. That's what I was told.
I was a speaker, but they told me I had to leave after speaking. And so now I'm just trying to see if I can be pressed. I'm not a speaker.
Yeah. They said, are y'all at max capacity? Wait, for 2 o'clock,
say they're speakers. See if they let them in. That guy's still not gonna let me in. I don't know how to get access as a member of the press to public events when the city uses the security and different departments to create a scenario for itself. They cut somebody's mic or something in there. You have to see it on ATXN because I can't see it. I can't get any video for you. Can you get that lady for me again? They're not letting me in.
Well, there's something we can do.
I just want to talk to the clerk about the constitutionality of not letting... I have a right to be there to gather content for the news. So there's a place for news, and they're not letting me in.
I'll go ask the clerks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there.
I'm going to try to talk to the clerks right now while they're...
I just want to be able to get in the room, and they're not letting me in.
That's at capacity.
I was in early, and they told me I had to leave after I spoke, and now I'm pressed.
So with that capacity, I wonder if we can wait till somebody...
The people have been coming out. They're not letting anybody in. So they're not doing it one for one.
The clerks will be able to change the capacity
Yeah.
of the room. Yeah.
But,
Okay, Marie,
I mean...
thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, if the clerk can't... The clerk has to uphold the law. So the law says that I have a right to be there.
We understand you have a right, but there's also capacity.
Yeah.
And there's also policy too. So you gotta
But
keep
there's
that-
other press in there that's allowed. There's a press area.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a place we can sit too. There's a press area. I want to videotape it with where I can hear it and it's going to come across. You're not going to call the clerk? No? Okay. You can't call the clerk because she's above you, right? Huh?
They just said that they couldn't call. So.
They can't call? I'm asking if you can call.
Well, there's nobody. They're all in there.
Oh, they're all in there. There was somebody upstairs a minute
That
ago.
was Marie.
Marie, yeah. She's not still up there? Okay. Well, I'll just go talk to these guys. I'm just documenting for my lawsuit. So thank you. Got no rights of press. She said I had to talk to y'all again about exercising my rights as press.
Yeah, you said only speakers are allowed in.
Not the press?
It said only speakers.
Okay, well, that's a violation of federal law. I mean, I have the right to be there just as much as anybody, if not more.
I mean, I understand.
I'm credentialed. I mean, I'm wearing my badge out in the open.
I understand.
Cool. So, I just stand here until when? Because y'all are letting people out, but you're not letting people in.
Right.
Even the press? Okay. And can I talk to the fire marshal? More people coming out.
I can see what he says.
Okay. Just following the rules. They told me to talk to a fire marshal. I'll talk to a fire marshal. You said no? Nope, no right?
Speakers.
Only speaker, not press? Okay, what's his name so I can make sure he's mentioned on the lawsuit?
Ward.
Ward?
W-A-R-D.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna get a little video of him. If he comes out, there he is. There he is. Oh, there's so much glare. There he is. So this is the line here. There's literally, including the narc right there, Chaz Moore, there's literally 30, 40 people trying to get in. And they're not letting them in. They keep letting people out, but not letting people in. They keep letting people out. They're not letting anybody in. Because they can't. That's basically it. He says for our safety. He's blaming the fire marshal. The fire marshal refuses to speak. Once you become a bully, it's hard to unbully yourself. You know what I mean? It's just what they do. Got more people leaving. More people leaving. Still nothing. Let him in. I don't know who he is, but he got in.
Should be right.
Food or drinks allowed in council chambers.
Yeah, like we need like.
So city council is left. Now they're picking on people. So here's that going. So I was here about 10:30 today, but that's not really enough for them. So now people can go in. So they're not, now they're not keeping people out.
Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire now!
Pro-Israel people were screaming. One lady was screaming. There's George Lobb. ALG lawyer doesn't respect your rights.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
So this is the process part of today. There's Chasmore not saying ceasefire now because Chasmore doesn't care. There's your Karens right there. The privileged.
Hey, can we not lock this? This is required.
Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire now!
Behind me.
Ceasefire now! 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 Ceasefire now!
So not only can you not come in, they'll tell you gotta go. Security's telling people they can't be in a public venue. APDs all around me, they decide to back off a little bit here. There's Mal talking. Yeah, watch this guy, he's a bully. So they pretty much got everybody outside now. It's just me in here. This lieutenant right here.
Oh man, I didn't get shit.
I know.
Yeah.
Higher up.
KXN in there. Or a Spectrum, it looks like, possibly. McGill. All these clown cops trying to talk to me.
All right, man, have a good one.
Take it easy.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
So all those goons are there to force people out.
Free, free, free Palestine! 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 Free, free, free Palestine!
Ooh, it's hot and muggy today. It is hot. It is hot today. So you can't get in there because then they force you out. All of that sounds legal.
If everybody wants to go, get up in there in the shade, please, by all means.
Yay, shade. It's hot and humid today, guys. Let me do some B-roll, y'all. Hold on. Actually, I can do that with my other camera, can't I? There's actually smaller file uploads and faster file uploads when I use my Sony camera.
Hello, everybody. Come sit on the stairs away from the sun. Make sure you have water, you are hydrated, and you are definitely in a good spirit. Yes. Hey guys, if you want to stay outside, it's fine. If you want to stay away from the sun, you can come and sit behind me, please. What's your name? I forgot.
Julian.
Julian. I might quote someone to sit inside.
Feel free, man.
You know?
Feel free.
Let me hear it, guys. Free, free Palestine! 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 Come down and run to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Come down and run to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Come down and run to the sea! Free! The Palestinians will be free! Yes! We will be free! Are we ready to start? Let me hear you guys! Let me hear it for free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! If you want to come, stay away from the sun, you can come and sit behind us here. If you want to stay under the tree, you're welcome to. Guys, don't forget we have snacks, we have drinks, whenever you want anything, please come and help yourself.
How we doing?
Austin for Palestine Coalition, and Austin with Palestine. Thank you all for coming today, this afternoon. Thank you for being with us, standing against genocide. We've been coming to City Hall for the last 7 to 8 months. We had more than 70 speakers from our community who spoke in front of the city council and the mayor. And all this time, we could not get the so-called progressive city council and mayor to bring the ceasefire resolution to the agenda. What a shame! Absolutely a shame. Let me tell you quickly what we've been done in the last 7 months, 8 months, of course with your help, with your presence, with your participation in the city council. When we started back in November, the Austin Human Rights Commission passed a resolution. It was a good resolution. It does not cover all of our ask at that time. The Austin Human Rights Commission passed it to the city council. We could not do anything with it. They would not even entertain it. We did what I call a watered down resolution. And still, we could not get any of the city council or the mayor to entertain the bare minimum resolution that stands for humanity and call for a permanent ceasefire. What a shame. Let me start by the mayor. I don't know, I could talk about him for hours. Hours. Let me start and remind you. Back in 2022 when he ran, he lost the general election. He went to runoff and he won by 942 votes. Most of these votes were from Williamson County. That means they were Republicans. 881 votes were from Williamson, 22 votes from Hayes County. As you know, Austin has a little bit in Hayes and Williamson. The mayor lost Travis County. I am not sure why he even accepted to be the mayor when the people of Travis County did not even elect him. The mayor asked me for a meeting with our community back in January. The mayor, after he introduced me to his chief of staff, we scheduled the meeting. It happens to be 4 days after the hate crime. We met with his staff, but that was not part of the agreement. It was the agreement we meet with the mayor, but we met with the staff. The staff was a deaf tone, did not even say one word. After the hate crime on February 4th, after the big march and rally that we had at the Capitol, as you all know, Lizzardo was stabbed in the same day. The mayor was not in the hospital. The mayor was not anywhere to be seen with our community. As a leader, you expect him to be everywhere with the community standing against racism, Islamophobia, anti-Arab, anti-Palestinian. The mayor nowhere to be found. The mayor canceled our meeting. The meeting was scheduled with Palestinian, Arab, Muslim, and Jewish community on Thursday. Wednesday night, I received an email that the meeting was canceled because they think there is no need for it anymore. And that was 4 days. Yes. The mayor issued a statement. Instead of standing with our community, he dehumanized our Palestinian community. He dehumanized our Arab and Muslim community. I could keep going for hours about this mayor and his lack of leadership and his lack of compassion and sympathy and his lack for being a mayor of the city of Austin. If you want to be a mayor, you be a mayor for all, not a mayor for few people. As I said, I keep going and going, but let's make sure the mayor up for re-election in November. Let's make sure he does not become our mayor next time. Let's make sure. And the last 7 months, as I said, we were here every council meeting. We had people speaking, standing up for Palestinian human rights, standing for a ceasefire, asking. This is not something we are requiring, we asking and demanding as a constituents from this city, from the mayor, that they should pass a bare minimum resolution. It went in a death note, people, no one was listening. Quickly, let me summarize what we did. We met with a few council members. We met with Chito in person. We met with his staff. But Chito, it's not a local issue. Really, Chito, it's not a local issue when your community, when your constituents asking you, demanding from you, as our city council, to pass this ceasefire. It becomes a local issue. Look to this hypocrisy and double standard. He signed local progress, asking for ceasefire, but he doesn't have the guts or the leadership to sign on to become a sponsor of the ceasefire resolution. Shame, absolutely. Of course, I don't want to talk anything about killing attention. Forget about it. She did not meet with us. She did not email us. She did not stand with our community. I keep going and going, but shame on her. She should never be a representative for the city of Austin. She should never come back to the city council next year. She's up for re-election. You live in District 6. Please tell your friends and family not to vote for this woman, not to bring her back to the city council. Throw her out, absolutely. Let me go to another city council member. That was she's turned out. Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Poole nowhere to be found. She's in the dais, but she's missing in action. She's missing in action. Refused to meet with us, did not respond to our email, refused to consider anything from our side. As I said, she was up there, I don't know what she was doing, but I'm glad she's turned out. She will not be coming back as a city council member, but she is one of the city council members never acknowledged our community, never sent us an email, refused to meet with us, as well as her staff. We did not meet with this woman at all. Shame. Let me move on to my city council member, Paige Ellis. I volunteered for Paige, unfortunately. I donated for Paige. I carried a sign and block with my daughter for Paige Ellis. I regret doing that. Paige Ellis only met with me virtually for 20-30 minutes, refused to meet with our community, did not send us any mail. I texted with her, and for somebody who said I did not see her, she came from Occupy Austin. I have no idea which Occupy Austin she was talking about, but again, she's another of these city council members turned out, but she's in 2 years, but she's another person missing in action for the humanity, missing in action against genocide, and missing in action listening to her constituents, to her voters. What a shame. Okay, let me move to Natasha Harbour. Natasha's staff met with us. It was a very good productive meeting. Unfortunately, she refused to meet with us in person. She said if it comes to the agenda, she'll vote for it. Okay, Councilwoman, why don't you become the fourth sponsor and bring it to the agenda? She did not do that. I do not want to go into so many details why she did it. She always uses personal excuses. Again, shame on her for not standing with our community. For somebody who is from our African American community, she should have known better that our struggle intertwined against this racism, against this genocide, and against all the hate as the people of color community were facing. Absolutely. Then we move next to Ryan Alter. Ryan Alter met with us. He met with our staff, with his staff, with us as a community. His condition was we need to meet with the other side. Okay. Actually, one of us took the initiative and we met with the other side. Because he was willing to vote for it if the other side have some change. But you know what? I have no idea in a water down resolution. What else we can water down? Can we water down standing against genocide? No! Can we water down against asking for permanent ceasefire? No! But one of us took that meeting, and of course we knew the outcome. It was a BS. They're not willing to stand for humanity. They're opposite, they are genocide enabler. They don't have a problem seeing thousands and thousands of Palestinians being slaughtered by our tax money. Shame. Hi Laura, hi Kathy Tovo. Kathy running for mayor and she's refusing to support ceasefire, by the way. Okay, so we did what Ryan asked us. Of course, we know in advance what the outcome would be. The outcome was we could not water down our resolution more than it's been already watered. So he said, if it comes up, I will vote for it. But he does not have the leadership nor the spine to stand for genocide. Somebody who ran as environmentalist, somebody who has young kids, he did not care of Palestinian kids, more than 15,000 of them being slaughtered by the Israeli occupation forces by our money. Alison Alton, she met, yes, oh my God, she met with few of us, the same thing. She's turned out, she's not going to be coming to the city council. Unfortunately, that was it. No communication, will not entertain, will not consider, will not do anything to support the basic and the bare asks from us. Stand up for humanity, stand up against genocide. And it really puzzles me for a woman who has kids, have no problem seeing Palestinian kids slaughtered by the Israeli occupation forces, by our money. Shame. I give the last for the 3 city council members who are supposedly in support of the ceasefire resolution. We met with them. We met with Zuhair in person. We met with Vanessa staff. We met with Jose staff. They, since November, they said they will support a ceasefire. Ceasefire. No. They issued a statement in November. Since then, it's still been a status quo. Nothing had happened. Nothing have we heard from these 3 city council members pushing to bring this resolution to the agenda. I guess they like the status quo. They were happy with the status quo. We asked them repeatedly to post on what they call city board in support of ceasefire, asking other city council members to join the call for a ceasefire. They have not done that. They did not respond to us. If you are really in support of a ceasefire resolution that calls for a permanent ceasefire and end the genocide, you will do as an elected official or in your power behind the scene to make sure we have a 4th city council member to bring it to the agenda. This is a quick synopsis. I could go for another 15-20 minutes. I'm not going to do that. But there is one thing. We are not giving up. This city council, this mayor, works for us as a constituents. They be paid by our tax dollars. And as you heard earlier today, Julian speaking about how these people are inside, not listening to their constituents, have been bought by white-rich people, ignoring the plight of our unhoused community, ignoring the plight of our veterans, ignoring the plight of the needs for our housing. It was heartbreaking today to hear Some of our Austin residents speak about Item 113 and 115 and pleading for financial aid. That was disheartening while we see billions of our tax money going to support Israeli genocide. If we cannot take care of our own people, that they are suffering in the streets of Austin, in Texas, in the United States, why do you expect us to support these clowns who are sitting in these dais, ignoring the plight of the Palestinian constituents and constituents of Austin, Texas? I appreciate you, Julian, what you said and for you stand for our unhoused community in Austin, Texas. They need to hear it from us because you know what? They don't listen to us. They have not listened to us for the last 7-8 months. They ignored us as a community. They dehumanized us as a community. But you know what? We will keep on going. They're not going to silence us. We will be back again and again and again and again until we change this mayor and city council. But we need to do that.
Yes.
Get him out of office. Get him out of office.
I'm here as a representative of Jewish Force for Peace. I'm a proud member of the Austin for Palestine Coalition. And the Austin for Palestine Coalition is a proud member of the wider community. This community right here of Texans, diverse, interfaith group of Texans from all walks of life who are fighting for a ceasefire, fighting for truth and justice, and fighting for a free Palestine. We were told in school that we have a government for the people and by the people. But it's obvious now that we have a government for war profiteers and by war profiteers. We are the ones creating a more just and equitable world. We are the ones doing the work. In the past 8 months, this community has held massive protests. Interfaith vigils, we've held teach-ins and educational events, movie screenings and study groups, and City Council has done nothing. We, the people, got over 100 artists to boycott South by Southwest. We have had massive letter writing campaigns and email campaigns. We have brought over 75 speakers to City Council. We have been packing City Council for 8 months. They have been silent, but we have shown them our organizing power. We have shown them that we know how to bring people together and take action. Our government of war profiteers is trying to feed us this lie that this conflict is about Jewish safety, that they care at all about Jewish safety. But my Jewish community knows that the best way to keep us safe is to fight against all genocide, all hate crimes, and to build a truly We know that we need a diverse coalition of people of all faiths. We need artists, we need union organizers, we need educators, we need cooks and poets and builders and dreamers, organizing together and uplifting each other. We keep us safe. Yes. This community knows how to organize. We know how to support each other, nourish and feed each other, and we know how to give each other hope on dark days that feel hopeless. When students on UT campus held peaceful protests and teach-ins and community dinners, including Shabbat dinners led by anti-Zionist Jewish students, the school and the city responded with military force. That's how much this community scares them. But we out-organize them with jail support, with legal support, community building. And we think that we don't open. In this next election cycle, we will show City Council just how damn organized we are.
Hell yeah.
Mayor Watson won the last election in a runoff by less than 900 votes. Can this community get 900 votes? A pro-Palestine
council are about to go on summer vacation, but this community will keep organizing. City Hall will be closed, but we will keep fighting. We will keep protesting. We will keep educating. We will keep supporting each other and uplifting each other. We will be loud and angry and organized until Palestine is free and until all people are free.
Yes!
We are a society that is built on truth and justice and taking care of each other. Thank you.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! All right. Before we do the people resolution, some of you might ask, why do we need a people resolution? We have another resolution. We need the people resolution because it is from the people.
Yes!
It covers what the people of Austin needs. The resolution we had before, we had two of them. Thank you for the Human Rights Commission for writing that resolution. But it does not fulfill our asks from this city. The other watered down resolution was a political resolution. We tried our best to negotiate with these people. There are big differences between these two resolutions or three resolutions. Our people resolution asked for a lot of things as a community, as Palestinian, as Arab, as Muslim, as African American, Latino, LGBTQ community, as all of our communities in this country demand and ask for from our government, local, state, or national government. That's why we need the people's resolution. So I would like to motion to start the reading of the people resolution. If you second, I would like to hear free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
That's not enough second. I need it louder than that. I didn't hear it. Can I hear a second?
Free, free Palestine!
All right, free, free Palestine!
Whereas the city of Austin stands in solidarity with Palestine, especially the people of Hudson, who are facing a continued campaign of ethnic cleansing, blood punishment, and genocide by the Zionist state of Israel. And whereas Hudson is known as the world's largest open-air prison due to ongoing, unbearable, inhumane living conditions imposed by Israel for the last 17 years, including a full air, land, and sea blockade, enclosure of its borders by concrete walls and barbed wire fences, and a strict prohibition of Palestinians from leaving and entering the territory freely. And whereas collective punishment is a war crime under international law and refers to a form of sanction imposed on a person or group of persons in response to action taken by one of them or a member of the group. And whereas the United States of Israel is engaging in collective punishment against Palestinian civilians. And whereas this collective punishment of the Palestinian civilians includes shutting off access to electricity, drinking water, food, fuel, and humanitarian aid. And
Whereas the UN says approximately 2 million people in Gaza have entirely run out of drinking water and all medical care. And whereas the use of starvation of civilians as a method of warfare is prohibited under international law, humanitarian and criminal law, as is depriving civilians of objects indispensable to their survival. And whereas the UN has declared that northern Gaza is now in a full-blown famine. And whereas ethnic cleansing refers to the creation of an ethnically homogeneous geographic area through the elimination of unwanted ethnic groups by deportation forcible displacement or genocide. And whereas Israel is now engaged in an ethnic cleansing campaign by explicitly requiring over 2 million Palestinians to leave Gaza immediately or risk being bombed in their homes and makeshift tents by the Israeli army. And
whereas 1.7 million Palestinians, making up 75% of Gaza's population, are now internally displaced, and 1.3 million of those, including over 600,000 children, have sheltered in Rafah, the southernmost tip of Gaza. And whereas the repeated targeting of the Rafah area in southern Gaza, explicitly designated as a safe zone by the Israeli military, is a war crime and includes the Israeli strikes on the 26th of May, 2024 in the Tal as-Sultan area, where 45 people, including 23 women, children, and elderly, were killed instantly or burned alive inside their tents in an attack, along with 249 wounded. And whereas Israeli settlements are violations of international law, and whereas the Israeli government has announced its intention to use the ethnically cleansed Gaza Strip as a land for the expansion of Israeli settlements, and whereas since the 7th of October 2023, the World Health Organization has recorded a total of 890 attacks on health facilities, with 447 in the West Bank and 443 occurring in Gaza, resulting in forced mass evacuations from hospitals and multiple fatalities and casualties among patients, their companions, and displaced people taking refuge. All but 3 hospitals have been destroyed, 2 of which are in imminent danger of shutting down. And whereas the targeting of hospitals is a war crime and a violation of international law, and
whereas the Zionist state of Israel has deliberately targeted hospitals and carried out large-scale massacres at hospitals like Shifa and Nasser hospitals, in which mass graves of patients were found with their hands zip-tied. And whereas the targeting of refugee camps is a war crime and a violation of international law. And whereas Israel repeatedly bombed Jabalia refugee camp, Bureid refugee camp, and bombed and invaded Nusayrat refugee camp, killing thousands of civilians. And whereas the targeting of schools is a war crime and a violation of international law. And whereas Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch report that Israel has repeatedly dropped white phosphorus bombs on Gaza in violation of the Geneva Convention. And whereas Israel has repeatedly kidnapped, held prisoner, tortured, starved, and in many cases killed civilians in Gaza at their detention camps, including women and children. And
whereas the Zionist state of Israel has murdered at least 36,050 Palestinians as of May 27, 2024, according to the Gaza Ministry of Health. 43,640, including those assumed dead under the rubble, with more being found every day. And whereas the majority of Palestinians killed by Israel have been between the ages of 5 and 9 years old. And in October 2023, more than 400 children were killed or injured every day. And whereas UNICEF, Save the Children, and Oxfam have determined the siege on Gaza to be among the deadliest armed conflicts for children in the 21st century. And whereas Israel refuses independent investigations of occurrences on October 7, 2023, subsequent war crimes, and refuses outside journalists, and has killed at least 107 journalists and media workers in Gaza. And whereas the state of Israel would not be able to maintain its settler colonial apartheid regime without the billions of dollars in military aid provided by the United States every year,
thereby depriving Americans of taxpayer money for their own urgent needs. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the people of the city of Austin. Section 1. That the city of Austin demands an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza and the immediate and complete entry of humanitarian assistance and aid, and further calls for the immediate end of Israel's 17-year-long siege of Gaza. Section 2. That the city of Austin recognizes that Israel's genocide against Palestinians, which started with the 1948 Nakba, never ended and continues to this day, and further unequivocally condemns the Zionist state of Israel's murder of Palestinians in Gaza and its war crimes in the entirety of Palestine in contravention of international and humanitarian laws, including apartheid, ethnic cleansing, man-made starvation, arbitrary arrest and detention, also known as administrative detention, including of minors, and the torture and extrajudicial executions, rape and sexual assault, and the ghettoization of civilian populations, deliberate bombing and military attacks of civilians, and the intentional destruction of infrastructure, including mosques, churches, homes, schools, and hospitals. Section 3, that the city of Austin condemns Zionism as a racist, imperialist, and settler colonial ideology. Section 4, that the city of Austin affirms that Zionism does not represent Judaism and rejects the false conflation of anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. And to this end, rejects any initiative, program, law, or act that criminalizes pro-Palestine speech or criticism of Israel.
Section 5. The city of Austin calls for the immediate release of all Palestinian political prisoners and administrative detainees, including all Palestinian children being held and interrogated without lawyers or parents present and tried in military courts, as well as all other forms of hostages as Israel is bombing and murdering its own Israeli hostages. Section 6. The city of Austin immediately and permanently ends all trainings between the Austin Police Department and the Israeli police. Section 7. The city of Austin immediately and permanently ends all relations, programs, and contracts with the Anti-Defamation League and all other Zionist organizations and entities. Section 8. The city of Austin affirms that Austin taxpayer funds should not fund the genocidal state of Israel, and to this end, fully discloses all existing contracts and programs the city of Austin has with Israel, Israeli companies, and weapons manufacturers, and fully divests from these entities and further permanently bans any future contracts and programs with these entities.
Section 9, that the city of Austin condemns and combats the anti-Palestinian, anti-Arab, and anti-Muslim racism that is being used to manufacture consent for this genocide in Palestine, and which has led to hate crimes against Palestinians and Muslims in the city of Austin, including the stabbing of Zakaria Doar in West Campus on the 4th of February, 2024, as well as a violent attack on students on the 5th of April, 2024. Section 10, that the city of Austin unequivocally condemns Governor Abbott's anti-Palestinian executive order and UT President Hartzell's brutal repression of students on UT Austin's campus in clear violation of the First Amendment, and further demand that UT Austin reinstate the Palestine Solidarity Committee and give full amnesty to all those students unlawfully arrested for protesting on their own campus. Section 11, that the city of Austin called on the University of Texas, Texas A&M Investment Management Company, UTIMPRO, to fully divest from the Zionist state of Israel all Israeli companies and all weapons manufacturers that provide arms and supplies to Israel.
Yes.
Yes.
That the city of Austin, as the capital of Texas, where the state's power is held, condemns the Texas anti-BDS bill
and further demands that the state of Texas fully disclose and divest from all Israeli bonds and investments and terminate all contracts with Israel and companies that invest in Israel in contravention of international and humanitarian law. Section 13, that this resolution shall take effect immediately from and after its passage in accordance with the provisions of the Charter of the City of Austin, and it is accordingly so resolved.
Yes. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Thank you. Do you know what's the difference between the people's resolution and the other resolutions? Because it is the people will, it provides what we need as a community in Austin. The city council and the mayor, 5 commissions appointed by them passed a ceasefire, but they ignored them and they are appointee of the mayor and the city council. 5 commissions in the city of Austin. So here, I will say, by the power invested in me by the citizen of Austin, I motion to adopt the People Resolution in Austin, Texas, May 30th at 1:20 p.m. as is the resolution to represent us in this city. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Any abstaining? Okay, the ayes have it. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Let me just say, it will be resolved that the Austin for Palestine Coalition email all these people inside and all our elected officials to inform them by the will of the people that the people of Austin, since they don't have the guts or the power or the courage to ask for a permanent ceasefire, that we, the people of Austin, did that on behalf of our community, in behalf of the citizen of Austin. Yes. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! We'll not go, we're not done yet. We have food, we have drinks, and we have party folks that will entertain us. We need to switch the cameras the other way, and they will be dancing this way. So whenever you're ready, Gatorade? You have the floor.
I don't think we have Gatorade in water.
All right, I'll have to do.
Are you looking for
Hold this. I'm going to see if this bathroom's open. It's live.
Okay.
You can talk to them.
Thanks, Dad. I like your
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I have my comment.
Go to the website, indigactivism, and you can get t-shirts and posters and all the information of the work that we're doing. And one thing is this performance that is inspired by the Violadores de Camino, a performance dance that started in Chile in 2019 and has spread all around the world, and now we've changed the lyrics to be about what's happening in Palestine, and we are doing it all around from Denver to Dallas to New York to Austin and everywhere between. That's it.
ice packs under their arms, between their legs, out in their head. That's what they need to be doing right damn now. Trying to find their insurance and figure out their names. Get them in ice packs. How about that part?
Yes. Oh, somebody is.
They need ice packs. Ice. They need ice. I think I gotta go inside and get ready for
Hey, your shoes are tight. Just purple.
Thank you for mentioning us. Thank you. Thank y'all.
You always recheck your bag. Recheck here and then they recheck
Well, they're gonna check all my bags now because I gotta email them the file. I gotta figure out which video I'm gonna use. I don't even know what video I'm gonna use. I got so many videos.
People have an heat stroke. It's like a heat
Yeah, that's
exhaustion.
bad. They need to bring them in here. Medically, they need to bring them in here. Feel this. It's so
We
nice.
need to bring them in here. Yeah. We need to bring people in here and have a heat exhaustion. Hello again.
So I brought my laptop stuff because I have to email them a video file. Take the laptop out. And this, I got all this stuff. This is what I had earlier. Probably faster than I am. Start putting things in the dog bowl. Actually needs to go in here.
Welcome back.
People in here. Bring people in here.
Somebody passed out in the heat out there.
Yeah, so we called the fire department.
Yeah.
Recheck it again? Yes.
My belt.
Yeah.
It's like England.
Thank you. Thank you.
That works.
Well, hopefully they didn't hit their head.
Yeah, that's a good. I didn't even know what was going on.
And we saw one thing.
Okay. Belt. There we go.
Good stuff.
Alright, that should be good.
Looks good. These are all yours for your camera
Cameras,
stuff.
batteries,
Okay.
cameras.
And I'll hand everything to you on the other side.
I'll let you take it.
On my camera. And then he said he hopes they didn't hit their head. I didn't see it. I don't know. It's probably on my video. I didn't know it.
Yeah. It's probably on there, yeah.
All these things are burdened. You gotta go through a checkpoint. They got us lined up again or what?
Yeah.
Why? Like how much freedom we can afford today?
Just to get in there.
All this to get in there. Then I gotta put my clothes back on. Happy disrobe. You see Chadmore? You see him chanting? He's wearing a shirt because he wants to.
He has a flag.
Well, there's a lady who hates me.
How are you? Thank you very much.
She's always here. Facility? Felicity? She's the furthest thing from Felicity. Karen is what I'm going to call her. Stop calling Karen. Fuck the whole thing up. Sometimes How's this one come apart? The exhaustion of stroke, or, I mean, that's yours. It's undue burden. Yeah, it is. It's undue burden.
Remove all your stuff, put it back on, remove it, put it back on.
Here you are. Here's the planned obsolescence right here all around me. Planned, what's it called? Controlled opposition. Working with Denver and France. Alright. Done. Done.
Expanding a park program.
Good boy. Are we going? They have sandwiches. I don't know. They had to get food back there.
Services, as well as Cody Scott, Facilities Process Manager for the library, and of course to offer my thanks to Director of Libraries, Roselle Weeks. Also in the audience today is our President of the Board, Charles Pupito, who is also, of course, a large supporter of our organization. We, of course, the association was founded in 1979 on December 27th to protect the demolition of Boston's original public library, which is going to be demolished for an underground parking lot, and the Boston Public Library to fundraise fully.
This is occurring all over town. This item sends a message to the United States Postal Service. It has a responsibility to better manage its facilities, control access to universal arrow keys, and to ramp up efforts to provide a secure alternative. Last year, the USPS launched Project Safe Delivery, designed to secure mail delivery boxes and provide arrow key alternatives. But that program has no dedicated funding, no benchmarks, and the USPS has failed to provide an update on when these systems will be deployed in the Austin area. So today, we say this is simply not acceptable. And before I close my remarks, I would love to be added to a co-sponsor on item 115 and 105. 105 is the fee waiver for the Texas Book Festival, and I would love to add an additional $500 to that fee waiver to help offset those costs. Many, many years ago, I was fortunate to get to volunteer with the Texas Book Festival, so it's something that I have always wanted to visit when it takes place in the fall. It's a really, really great event that brings families together and has wonderful programming, so I appreciate the work that they've been doing over the years.
Without objection, Councilmember Ellis will be shown as a sponsor of those two items. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Codry, followed by Councilmember Fuentes, then Councilmember Velasquez.
Great, thank you, Mayor. And I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to ask to be added to a as a co-sponsor from item 115 from Councilmember Velasquez.
Without objection, Councilmember Codry will be shown as a sponsor of that item.
Great, and now I'll get into my consent remarks. I'm going to be speaking on 4 different items, so we're going to be here for
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to make a few comments on behalf of my colleague, Councilmember Harper Madison. With regard to item 32, funding for career training and opportunities for our unhoused residents, Hungry Hill and Mr. Chase Wright make a huge impact not only for District 1 but across the city. I'm very pleased to continue the significant partnership between the City of Austin and Hungry Hill. Item 112, the implementation of the Downtown Austin Community Courts Mobile Court Program after a very successful pilot. This is a vital program that continues to remove barriers to services and provide equitable and meaningful services for the community.
Load of shit.
And shows that the Downtown Austin Community Court is really a pillar or a homelessness response system. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with them on potentially even expanding that mission. They've done great on their diversion programs
Security's watching us.
with regard to a lot of misdemeanors.
See if I drink water.
Item 115, again, Councilmember Velasquez, an excellent item as we initiate and build upon support programs for our low and middle income homeowners in response to our recent land development code changes. This item is a significant step towards ensuring that all of Austin benefits from more attainable housing options. Our hope is that there are affordable home options for all different backgrounds and lifestyles available in every part of the city. His resolution goes a long way to making sure that's possible. Item 165 related to the city processes and regulations for small food businesses and restaurants. The goal of the initiative is to help lessen barriers to starting a small food business in Austin and encourage growth and participation in our small business community. There are also items in there to make it easier for charitable organizations to distribute food. Right now, it's difficult. There are a lot of regulatory barriers to being able to distribute food for charitable organizations as well. And finally, with item 166 regarding succession planning and education for our council successors is an item that Councilmember Harper Madison has been working on for a long time. I've talked to her many times about it. Every person sworn into these offices should be set up for success so they can show up and be the best representative for their constituents. She is implementing some processes and procedures to help train us, to help prepare us, to make sure that when we come on the dais, we're ready to go and ready to work for our constituents. And then finally, with June approaching, Councilmember Harper Madison and the entire council really welcome everybody to join the District 1 team in celebrating Juneteenth. There will be events almost every weekend leading up to June 19th, and they will be promoted on social media and via other means. Please join and share all the wonderful events that are going to be happening to celebrate Juneteenth and its significance in Austin. And again, it's still a point of pride that it has become what was a Texas celebration is now a national federal holiday and a national celebration of freedom. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Bailey. Councilmember Kelly. By the way, you have multiple halos today.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I'm coming at you all from Fort Worth at the Texas Emergency Management Conference, and so I'm in the exhibit hall having a council meeting, and I appreciate your patience with all these halos. I'm not sure I earned them. I wanted to vocalize my consent no votes. Those are 12, 14, 15, 29, 45, 85, 114, and 115. And I wanted to take just a moment to thank Councilmember Natasha Harper Madison for her thoughtful item about council transitions. I firmly recall how we hit the ground running when I got elected, and I was given very little guidance or materials and able to have a good continuity of operations plan to transition into office. And so I would not wish that for my worst enemy, and I'm hopeful that your item will help us be the representatives for our constituents. Thank you very much for your time to speak today, or the time to speak today, and with that I yield.
Thank you very much. Members, that concludes the discussion on the consent agenda. The motion has been made and seconded that we adopt the consent agenda. Is there anyone wishing to be shown abstaining from a vote on the consent agenda? Anyone wishing to be shown recusing themselves from a vote on any item on the consent agenda? Councilmember Kelly, I have you voting no on 12, 14, 15, 29, 45, 85, 114, and 115. Did I miss anything?
That is correct, sir. I was trying to speak slow enough so you could get it all.
Okay, I got
Thank
it.
you.
Good deal. All right, anybody else wishing to be shown voting no on any other item on the consent agenda? With that, the consent agenda, without objection, the consent agenda is adopted with Councilmember Kelly being shown voting on the no on the items that I previously read. Thank you, council members. Council, what I would suggest we do at this point is recess the Austin City Council meeting and go into the AHFC Board of Directors meeting. And without objection, we will recess the meeting of the Austin City Council at 2:04 p.m. Members, I will now call to order the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Austin Housing Finance Corporation, and recognize staff.
Good afternoon, the Austin City Council. My name is Mandy DeMeo. I'm the treasurer of the Austin Housing Finance Corporation.
Hang on one second, Mr. Mayor. Folks, if you're in the council chambers and your last name is not DeMeo, you shouldn't be talking. Thank you.
We'll try it again. Mandy DeMeo, treasurer, Austin Housing Finance Corporation. You have two items on today's agenda. The first item is authorizing AHFC to move forward with the acquisition of a 64-unit apartment complex in North Austin, D4, known as Cielo at North Domain. This authorizes us to invest $1.625 million in partnership with Affordable Central Texas in this acquisition. The second item is a contract for consulting services with Guidehouse Inc. And this contract is $447,780. And the contract is to assist staff with underwriting, program guidelines, underwriting guidelines related to our housing development assistance programs. I offer these on consent. Happy to take questions.
Members, what I'm going to do, because there's an amendment being proposed on item number 2, is I'm going to take them up separately, although we'll be able to move through them pretty quickly. Does anybody have any questions of Ms. Miles? All right, in that case, let's take up HFC 1. Members, I have filed the documents to recuse myself on this item. I will not be voting on this item and recuse myself. Prior to my being mayor, I invested money with the Austin Housing Conservancy, which is one of the parties that's involved in this deal, so I will not be voting on that. Let me entertain, but I will entertain a motion by Board Member Ryan Alter, seconded by Board Member Cadre, to approve item number 1. Is there anyone signed up to speak on item number 1?
No, Mayor.
There's no one signed up to speak. Is there any discussion? All right, without objection, item number 1 is adopted. That will take us to, with the mayor recusing himself from a vote on item number 1. Item number 2, I'll entertain a motion and then we will consider an amendment. Motion is made by Board Member Ryan Alter to approve item number 2. It's seconded by Board Member Vela. The chair will now recognize Board Member Alter for a proposed motion to amend.
Thank you very much. I have a motion for direction that I'll speak to if I get a second.
Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Ellis. You're recognized.
Thank you very much. And just real briefly, this is adding direction that as we look at these guidelines to our ROTA program for them to consider eviction prevention policies, data collection and sharing, as well as looking at our fees to potentially have those wrapped in when we're calculating rent so that we don't have explosion of fees outside of our environment, as well as just looking at how we might solicit support housing projects, looking at the capital and the services together. Kind of the issue we found ourselves in some of our future projects. And with that, I adopted motion number 1. I already did that.
Board Member Ryan Alter moves adoption of motion to amend number 1. Is there a second? Seconded by Member Vela. Is there any discussion? Apparently staff has discussion.
Yeah, may I interject? I haven't seen, I don't know if there are changes to the motion that I received and it was posted on the message board yesterday. We had spoken with your staff. We had some concerns about the wording of the introductory language about incorporating these very specific items in the scope of work, because the scope of work is already finalized. Many of these things, I want to be clear, many of these things are work that we are currently undertaking and will undertake in concert with the guidehouse work, but may in fact be outside the letters of the scope of work. And one of the items, data collection and sharing, is kind of a third companion piece, a third phase of our contemplated consulting work with Guidehouse. So again, not in the scope of work. If there, we are happy to take direction. These are all items that we certainly support and are currently undertaking.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. I'm happy to strike in the consulting scope of work, or if I can amend my amendment. I hate to do it on the fly here, but
I hate for you to do that.
If we could just strike the scope of work language and direct the city manager.
Make sure we get this right. City manager is directed to consider the following as threshold requirements.
Or incentivized elements. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Remember, we really should do this. So we can move forward. Councilor Ryan Alter moves to amend objection is adopted. That'll take us back to the motion to amend. Is there objection to the motion to amend as amended? Being no objection, the motion to amend is adopted. That will take us back to item number 2 as amended. The motion is to adopt it as amended. Is there any objection? Without objection, item number 2 is adopted as amended. Members, those are all matters to come before the Austin Housing Finance Corporation Board of Directors. Without objection, we will adjourn the meeting of AHFC Board of Directors at 2:12 p.m. I will now call to order the meeting of the Austin Housing Public Facility Corporation Board of Directors at 2:12 p.m. and recognize staff.
Thank you, Mandy DeMeo, Austin Housing Public Facility Corporation. We have 2 items on the agenda. First item is of the minutes from April 4th and April 18th, 2024. And the second item is authorizing the issuance of AHPFC private activity bonds, multifamily revenue bonds, for the development of a 114-unit multifamily project to be developed by Guadalupe Neighborhood Development Corporation in District 3, known as Escuela Nueva. And this is related to item 90 on the City Council agenda.
We'll take up next. Any questions of staff? Is there anyone signed up to speak on this item?
No, Mayor.
Great, thank you. Members, there's no one signed up to speak on item number 2 or item number 1. So I'll entertain a motion to approve items 1 and 2 as part of a consent agenda. Councilmember Velasquez, seconded by the Mayor Pro Tem. Is there, Councilmember Householder, were you seconding it or do you want to talk? Okay, good. Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to adopt items 1 and 2 on AHPFC 1 and 2. Is there any objection? Without objection, those items are adopted. Those are all matters to come before the Board of Directors. Without objection, AHPFC Board of Directors meeting is adjourned at 2:13 p.m. I'll now call back to order the meeting of the regular meeting of the Austin City Council. It is 2:14 p.m. We will take up first item number 90, which you just heard is directly related to the vote we took on AHPFC item number 2, and I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 90. Councilmember Vela moves to approve it. It is seconded by Councilmember Cadre. Is there discussion? Is there anyone signed up to speak on this item?
Yes, Mayor, I do have some speakers.
Okay, let's hear it.
Sophia Cheka, Jason Haskins, sorry.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. My name is Jason Haskins. I'm the Director of Architecture with H2O Architects, and this is a project that we're working on in our office, and I just wanted to speak in support of it. We've had a lot of discussions the last couple of months about what is and isn't affordable housing, and what we want affordable housing to look like, and what actually it takes to get it done. I mean, GNDC has, their track record speaks for themselves. This is a neighborhood development corporation trying to do things that are hard. This is hard work that they're doing, and it's been a lot. They are very creative in how they figure out how to put things together, and it's been a very rough spell to get through projects recently because of interest rates. Because it's a 4%. It is more subject to interest rates than most 9% tax credit projects, for example. So, I mean, just watching them work and figure stuff out and put deals together, this is really what it takes. So I think as we have these other discussions about what affordable housing needs to look like and how we get it done, I would highly recommend looking at this project for what density means, what height means in affordable housing. This is daycare mixed use. That's exactly what people are asking for. This is to get it done, and they need it. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers for 90.
Thank you very much. Members, those are all the speakers on item number 90. I have a motion and a second. Is that correct? Yes, I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion by Councilman? Any objection? Without objection, item number 90 is approved. Members, what I would suggest we do for time management purposes is we go to item 171, and then we go to our 2 o'clock time certain, and then we go to the remaining matters. So I'll call up right now item number 171. Members, what I'd like to do is get a motion on item number 171 and get it out on the table, and then we will call on speakers. You have in your packet version number 2. Version number 2 was what it does is it makes a clarifying change. The clarifying change relates to items that will not be on consent agenda that come from the city council committees. Version 1 did was it said items that are considered by city council committees would be off of the consent agenda. That's a little vague because it could mean that the committee had a briefing on it, therefore there was consideration of something of that nature. So what this does is it says that if the committee votes to recommend it to the council, then it would not be on the consent agenda. So that's version 2. There are a couple of proposed amendments, and what I'll do is I'll get the main motion first, and then we'll go to speakers. Mayor Pro Tem moves adoption of item 171. It's seconded by Councilmember Ryan Alter. With that, I will turn to the clerk's office to call on our speakers.
Thank you, Mayor. William Bunch, Julian Reyes, Craig Gazer, Felicity Maxwell.
Again, if you're here, make your way to the front, and if there's an open microphone, feel free to take it and begin talking.
Hello, my name is Craig Gazer, and my one objection to this is 2 minute speaking limit. I've been doing speaking for a long time in front of the city council, and I've had 3 minutes at times, and 2 minutes at times, and 1 minute. 1 minute is ridiculous. 2 minutes is difficult depending on the subject. Now, the reason I live in Austin is because I grew up on the shores of Lake Erie. It turned into a cesspool as a little kid. I watched it. And I've moved a couple places in the country, came down here, lived in a home for my graduate degree with no air conditioning. And my car had no air conditioning, and Hard Springs was very important to me. And so then in the 1990 all-night city council meeting that you know about, I was alarmed. I went down there, over 900 people signed to speak, and everyone got 3 minutes. And the meeting ended at 7 in the morning. You know the story. That's why I live here, because no one showed up to speak in my little town of Ashtabula. Now down here in Austin, look what happens when we have meetings. Lots of people show up to speak. And if you give them 3 minutes, what you find out is a whole lot of them don't use that 3 minutes. But if you give them less and less and less, they get more and more angry. Now, one other aspect about this is email. There was no email back in 1990. And now we hear, well, you can send us an email. I sent you guys all an email about something coming up. I have no clue if you read it or if you ever read it, although thank you. Ryan Alter sent me back a message, so thank you. But that's kind of like a fake thing, you know. It's like, well, send us an email, and then we'll ignore it. We'll read it. We won't read it. We have no idea. It's not on the record. It's on a record here if you stand up and speak. You say, I said that a couple years ago. You didn't listen to me. Or I said that a couple years ago, and you did, and look how that worked out. That's important. So I think 3 minutes, really, that should be your job, to sit here and list 3 minutes. Now, I've also been a president on a chair on a commission, and one thing you can do to shorten meeting times is shorten the amount of time that the people on the commission speak. I've had that happen too. So anyway, there's a lot of things, time's tricky, but I think that's the important thing on here. The other rules look pretty good to me. Thank you very much. I didn't take my 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Bill Bunch with Save Our Springs Alliance. Certainly appropriate that you take this step to make your procedures comport with the Texas Open Meetings Act as well as the city charter. Appreciate you moving in that direction. I want to speak first to the proposed Chito Vela amendment, which violates the Texas Open Meetings Act by not sticking to the requirement that time limits be on a given item basis. The statute is clear on that. Two different judges now have confirmed that, and that amendment would take you away from that. You have other tools to address people who try to sign up on too many items, violate decorum, don't speak on the subject, to manage that sort of rare occasion when people abuse the opportunity to speak. Your ordinance as proposed, I think the 2 minutes might be marginally bare minimum legal. I would argue that it's, on many occasions it's not. If it's an important item like $1 billion spending or a complex item, that's not reasonable. You really need to go back to what has been the standard for this city, this community for decades, in 3 minutes. And then maybe, if there's a whole long people, the first 20 or so, like in previous iterations, would get less. But you need to start with a baseline of 3 minutes, not the paltry 2 minutes. And again, you can pay attention to your charter and meet more frequently, have shorter meetings that way rather than cutting out public participation. The proposed ordinance also, I believe, is not legal in that it doesn't address the situation of work sessions where you actually deliberate on an item. The statute says you have to let people speak at the same meeting where an item is considered. Now, a lot of things that y'all do, like the work session this week, you're simply getting information from staff, you're asking questions, you're not deliberating. But when you start deliberating, deliberation by dictionary definition is consideration. And consideration is the key term in the statute. And once you cross that line, you have to let people speak at the work session before or during the consideration of the time, of the item. And so that's the plain language. The intent of the statute also must be met. Thank you.
Still need to talk, Bill. Okay, so I'm against item 171 as it stands, and for the reasons that Bill Bunch mentioned, as well as the fact that the primary goal of government is to serve the people, and its role is to support, where'd the mayor go? Support free speech, the right to peaceably assemble, and the right to access our government. Taxation without representation is tyranny. I'll probably know that from American history. Today people that wanted to speak weren't allowed in the building, including myself, weren't allowed in the room. That's a First Amendment right that was violated. Today, y'all created more litigation possibilities and liabilities for the city, and more increase in insurance for the city to operate as more and more litigation is pending. You can't, if you guys cannot get everybody in the room to participate in city council meetings, then you need to rent out the Austin Convention Center and make space. That's not the people's problem, that's y'all's problem. Y'all should allow us to speak. As far as time, you know that 1 minute's not going to do anything. People spend that time just thanking you guys, thinking so-and-so and so and that, and that's no good. You need to uphold your sworn oath to defend the people and the Constitution. You all swore an oath, all of you, including Ann Morgan. You need to allow free speech and freedom of assembly and access to the government. Oh, welcome back, Mayor. We're talking about the law and the Constitution. So you guys need to uphold your sworn oaths. What else? So the security bullying people, APD bullying people here is also part of that equation. We need access to the government. Bullying people because y'all don't want to hear unpopular speech or you don't want to hear diverse opinions. That's not your role. Your role is to serve us, all of us, not your certain constituents that you love and the low melanin, high bank account people with high credit ratings driving Teslas. You need to listen to the little people because the little people that y'all have underestimated are the ones that are going to be y'all's downfall. So yeah, I'm against 171 as it reads. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Felicity Maxwell, Brad Masonville, Cindy Reed, Alexia Leclerc.
I'm Brad Masonville.
Julian, can you have Bill Bunch contact me?
South Austin Creek
I'll
Alliance.
give him a crack. Give him a card like last
Head
week.
of the Bird Streets
This is something I've
Neighborhood
been dealing with,
Association.
suing the city for a while. I'm in federal
And,
lawsuits against them.
Greatly
Shit, I don't have a card.
participant in city
I don't have a
council
card.
stuff.
I just got lawyer's
And I think
cards.
it's super
There's one.
important that we
Here you go.
retain
My number's
as
on there.
much citizen
I'm an environmental
communication as
scientist
possible.
also.
This is the only
I'm also an
opportunity we have to
environmental
talk. It's really, y'all are super busy, there's so
Y'all
much
need me.
business going on.
Y'all need me
trying
on
to get
Savers. I was
some
thinking, now that y'all are
face-to-face
doing
or
something
FaceTime
finally, because I was
meeting
critical
with
in the
one of
past,
those
but
pretty hard.
and this is my friend here,
So this
saving
is
Mystery
the
Creek.
only time we're really
He's a
gonna talk
badass
about it.
guitarist. Brad Messenger.
Mystery Creek. And I encourage y'all to keep the
Yeah, I
rules
went
as
to
they
their
are.
event during Earth Day. I went to their event. I don't know. They had a party. I know from reading
Cindy
the old days.
Alexia Leclerc,
Tell Bill to
Chris
call me.
Beach,
Right.
Zenobia Joseph. Mayor, I called all the names for 171.
Thank you. Members, we have a motion and a second. One of the things I want to point out is that what is referenced in terms of, the only time where there's a reference, there are two times where there's a reference for time in the proposal. One is on
How much time does he have to go do drugs?
which remains the same as what we've been doing, and it expressly takes 3 minutes. The only other place is it makes a reference, and it makes a reference that the floor would be 2 minutes.
Got my chair.
In the past, as I understand it, in the fairly recent past, that there were times when there would be a limit of 1 minute placed on what speakers would be allowed to speak. But what this does is it recognizes under the law, council's right under the Open Meetings Act to adopt reasonable rules regarding time, and says, but it makes clear to the public that at no time will we establish less than 2 minutes for people to speak. So when people say it establishes those 2 minutes, that's not correct. It's just the floor. With that, we have, as I understand it, Councilmember Bailey, I'm going to recognize you because as I understand it, we have 2 proposed amendments. There was a reference to your proposed amendment, but I'd like to recognize you on your proposed amendment and what you want to do with that.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just, I'm going to withdraw my amendment. I just want to make a note that the amendment that I was proposing essentially codifies Attorney General opinion KP 300 of 2020 opinion. The Blanco County Attorney wrote to ask the Attorney General's office essentially whether there could be and I'm going to quote, permits a county to limit the total amount of time it gives a speaker to address all desired agenda items. So this question was specifically asked of the Attorney General, and the conclusion of the Attorney General was that the code does authorize a governmental body to adopt reasonable rules regarding the public's right to address a body, including time limitations, that the body may adopt a rule capping the total amount of time a member of the public has to address all items on the agenda, if the rule is reasonable. I just don't want to get into a situation where there's essentially a filibuster. You know, someone can take, 2 minutes on the 30 individual items, consent would be an individual item, and essentially get 60 minutes. We have amateur comedians that come, and there's just many different ways that I think that could be manipulated and essentially serve to disrupt and
Still free
really
speech.
quiet the voice of other people who are trying to speak. And I recognize that it's very hard to come down here and speak. Even it's hard to speak on the phone. You know, you've got to call in, you've got to wait. And I have a real problem with one person or one group of people dominating that time, essentially to the exclusion of others. I'm going to pull the amendment because I think that inherently within the statute, the presiding officer, the mayor or the mayor pro tem, given the situation, has the legal right to limit the total amount of time to speak for guests. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Vela. We have two other amendments. One is by me and one is by Councilmember Allison Alter. With permission, I will go to my amendment first. And members, you have the sheet, the yellow sheet on that. What that is it's a cleanup so that addendums can be filed the way we currently do addendums in anticipation of the upcoming meeting, and takes out what is a vestige of an old practice of it being published 6 days prior to the meeting. That's what that amendment does.
Speed it up. Rocket docket. Speed it all up.
Watson, motion to amend number 1.
Bypass the citizens.
Seconded by Councilmember Vela. Is there discussion? Yes, Councilmember Allison Alter.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I don't have a copy of that. Could you just read it?
Sure, be happy to. I apologize, because that's true, you wouldn't have one. Motion, it says in motion sheet number 1, I move to amend version 2 of the ordinance starting on line 72 to read as follows.
There's one of the
Subpart
main
capital
bullies
D,
right there.
the city manager shall publish the
He's a
agenda
supervisor, security.
13 days prior to the meeting, and there's then it deletes the rest of that. Yes, the way we currently
On
do
Friday
it.
or Monday before the meeting.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Is adopted? That will take us to Allison Alter motion to amend number 1 for item 171 as item 171 is amended, and I'll recognize Councilmember Allison Alter.
Thank you, Mayor. So I would move to amend the ordinance to add the following language to the end of part 6B in order to allow members of the public to pull an item from the consent agenda. This was made on number B, part 5, in which 6 or more members of the public have signed up to speak. The prior practice was 2 or more members of the public signing up could pull an item off consent. And I have raised that, and I believe this amendment strikes the right balance between empowering engagement and efficiency of our meetings. An item pulled from consent focuses attention and creates a slight pause that over the years, in my experience, can prove very useful. In the past, as I mentioned, it was 2 people. That may be too low. That's why I put it at 6. I think this motion also means that our staff and other public that are here for items where you have fewer than 6 people signed up, they can come to council, be heard, and move on. One of the opportunities with the consent agenda is to allow our staff to move on with their day. When we have items on there that have, more than 6 speakers, that starts to add up and take up a lot of staff time that is valuable, keep our staff away from doing their important work. And so I think that there's a balance here that we ought to strike. So I would move approval of my amendment.
Members, Councilmember Allison Alter has moved amendment number 1, proposed amendment number 1 to item number 171. Is there discussion on the item? What I would say is that I'm not sure it's necessary for 2 reasons. One is, as I understand the practice, the prior practice was that right after the pandemic, there was a change where people were allowed to speak once on the consent agenda, and that was the practice that then was brought forward starting in January of 23. Since we are expressly saying in this ordinance that someone can speak on any item on the consent agenda, it precludes the need to pull something off so that somebody will also have an opportunity to speak on that item as well. In addition to that, any council member at any time can pull an item off the consent agenda, and therefore it's off the consent agenda. And if it's determined by a council member that you know, more than 6 people have signed up, and that's a good reason to do it, then, or even more than 2, you can do that. The way this also is worded is that you could have 6 people that are in favor of it. You could have, you know, more than 6 people that are in favor of it, but that pulls the item from the consent agenda, so I believe the item is unnecessary, but I'll leave it to Will. Yes, Councilmember Ryan.
Sorry, I was just waiting for a second to discuss that I actually initially had this same notion of, you know, what might be that right number, and the more I thought about it, you know, looking at a meeting like today, where we have individuals who come and actually want to speak on something, whether they're for it or against it, and then get on their day, and it seems like if we have a certain number of items that get pushed to behind the consent agenda, we're forcing people to wait here longer to speak when, you know, we saw people here today say, oh, you know, I'd like to have spoken on this, but it was pulled. And so I just think for the flow, you know, we are still in a little bit of a new dynamic, and we're gonna have to get the balance and maybe revisit this issue going forward. But I think just as we have seen even here, that not setting that arbitrary cap or pull from the consent agenda will allow for us to flow a little better. So,
John Walton. Okay.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion to amend Councilmember Allison Alter? Councilmember Fuentes seconds the motion to amend. Is there any further discussion on the motion to amend? Yes, Councilmember Allison Alter, I'll let you close.
Thank you. So there's part of what you said that I didn't follow, and just, you know, again, having experienced it where we were calling folks, pulling items off consent, I think it really did flow. Even if you have 30 people who are coming and speaking in favor of an item, you know, they very often want to see us vote, you know, and raise our hand on an item and know that it passes. And I just, you know, one of the things that makes our city great is our public participation, it's our social capital, and one of the places that we see that is at council, and you know, it is our role to listen, and I think that this particular approach is more conducive to moving forward with the meetings effectively, and lets people know that if they do bring in a certain number of folks, that their item will be pulled forward, and that can work in lots of different directions. I think it is something that I've heard from many constituents that they would very much value. And you know, in my experience, it has been positive for our meetings, and that we do need to get a good balance between engagement and efficiency, and I think this does that.
Allison Alter's a
Thank
joke.
you. Members, the motion is to adopt Allison Alter motion to amend number 1 to item number 171. It's been seconded. Those in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
Nobody raised their hand.
Those opposed to the motion, raise your hand.
Some people.
The motion to amend fails with Councilmember Allison Alter being shown voting in favor. That will now take us back to the main motion, which is to adopt item number 171 as amended by Watson motion to amend number 1. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Councilmember Allison Alter.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the grace of my colleagues. I've been sick all week and was not able to be there at work session. I would ask some of these clarifying questions during work session. In part 4, I think it's number F. Here it says not more than 2 briefings may be placed on a council meeting agenda. Just wanted to confirm that that is for an agenda of a council meeting, not of a work session.
Yes, that's why it's placed under Thursday council meeting.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Colleagues, I have spoken with legal about whether we could move our committee reports to consent, and was advised that that is not a a positive way forward, so I didn't bring that amendment. You clarified this earlier, Mayor, that the intention for part 7 with the 2 minutes was that was a floor. So I appreciate you clarifying that for the community, that you intended it as a floor. I think that 3 minutes is the right amount, and very certainly would recommend that for our budget process in July, that we be clear that we're going to give people 3 minutes, so there's not ambiguity how much time people are going to have in that process moving forward. And then finally, I wanted to ask about, I know this doesn't need to be in the procedures, but I would once again suggest that there is value in moving our work sessions and some of our committee meetings into the board and commission rooms. The layout of the room is much more conducive for collaboration and working together. It's, you know, it's just a different setting than when you're in the council meeting. And I would just recommend that we consider trying that out and seeing how we like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Members, the motion on item number 171 is to approve item 171 as amended without objection.
Mayor, I would like to abstain, please.
Okay, without objection, item 171 is approved with Councilmember Allison Alter being shown as abstaining. All right, thank you, members. What we'll now do is go to the zoning matter.
She's funny. She's funny.
And guess who I'm recognizing?
Mayor and Council, I'm Joy Harden with the Planning Department. Your zoning agenda begins with item number 141, 214-2022-0090, and this item is offered for consent on all 3 readings. 214H 2023-0137. This item will be offered as a staff postponement request to your July 18th council meeting.
For developers, to support developers. A bunch of people in suits just came in. All the money just came in. This is all city council cares about.
So we can offer consent with this motion, or okay, I see your head, Councilmember. So we will pull this for discussion for Councilmember Bailey to make his motion. And with that, this concludes the reading of the agenda. And as always, this is at your discretion. Thank you.
Let me ask a couple of quick questions to make sure I got things right. 145, is that for all 3 readings or on first reading?
First reading.
First reading, okay. 150 and 151. I'm sorry.
I didn't know they could read. I know those last ones could read.
155 is what I'm going to talk about. Those are not being offered on consent on
They don't read
readings.
anything else
Those
from
are
citizens.
offered to be postponed to July 8th.
I'm like the neighborhood, yes.
And then on 156, tell me again what you said.
So this is offered for consent. It's a restricted covenant, and so it's just 1 reading, so it's consent. And I was just noting that the agenda had it as District 10, but it's in District 2. And we had,
They can't even get this stuff
but
right.
that was just an agenda reading, but it's consent.
It's not even in the right
Number
district.
158 is first reading only.
158 is first reading.
Okay, members, what I'm going to do is read into the record a proposed consent agenda and accept a motion on that. And Ms. Harden, as you can tell, I've had difficulty on a couple of these, so make sure I get it right, all right? Item number 141, consent on all 3 readings, 142 and 143, indefinite postponement. 144, all 3 readings. 145, first reading only. 146, all 3 readings. 147, all 3 readings. 148, all 3 readings. 150, and related item 151, all 3 readings.
All the suits are in here.
All 3 readings.
Just a bunch of
motion
suits.
that was read into the record by Ms. Harden. 153, all 3 readings.
You mean a bunch of developers.
154 and 155 related. 155.
Because when they get zoning, they get money.
July 18th. 156, consent, and we only need one reading on that for passage. 158, consent on first reading only. 159, a postponement to July 18th. Members, you've heard the proposed consent agenda. I'll accept the motion. Councilmember Ellis makes the motion. It is seconded by Councilmember Codry to approve the consent agenda as read. Is there anyone signed up to speak on the consent agenda?
Yes, Mayor. First speaker is remote, Malcolm Yeats, item 141.
I guess around
This is Malcolm Yates. I'm the chair of the East Riverside Local Combined Neighborhood Planning Area Contact Team. The contact team voted to oppose this zoning change because members of the East Riverside Local Combined Contact Team devoted years to creating the E-Rock Neighborhood Plan and the East Riverside Corridor Plan by approving zoning case C-14-2022 090. The Planning Commission and City Council have ignored the intent of the citizens of Austin to create a plan for future growth in the East Riverside area. Austin citizens will be justifiably skeptical of any future projects by the City Council to plan for growth. Thank you.
We waited on the phone all day.
Thank you.
I was the only remote speaker for consent, so I'll move to in person. On item 141, Pat Brigadine, followed by Felix Ramirez, and then Mario Cantu.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Pat Brigadine, and I'm speaking on item 141. I'm speaking on behalf of a group of Riverside Farms Road property owners whose homes are adjacent to or very near the Cromwell property. We can't support this zoning change because of the extremely negative impact it could have on our close-knit semi-rural neighborhood, but I'm here to say we will not oppose it. We've been working on a restrictive covenant with the owners of the property through their representative, Leah Bojo, of the Drenner Group for over a year. During that time, both sides have made concessions, but ultimately what they offered didn't address enough of our concerns, and we as private homeowners simply can't afford to spend any more time, energy, and upfront money. So we've reached an impasse. We do recognize that they want and need to make profitable use of their land. And after over a year of negotiations, they should know what's important to us. Definitely height and setbacks are important, especially since our adjacent properties are 20 feet lower in elevation than theirs. But other things are also important, like noise, lights, reflectivity, privacy, security, trash, and protecting the Country Club Creek tributary that runs between their property and ours. This is their business, but this is our home. I've lived on Riverside Farms Road for many years, and during that time, our neighborhood has worked collaboratively and well with our other corporate neighbors, including Trammell Crow, the Iron Workers Union, the Casey Family Foundation, Veritas Family Partners, SBAG, and Tokyo Electron. We want to have that same kind of relationship with the current and any future Cromwell property owners. We've told the applicants, through Leah Bojo, that we would like to make an informal agreement with them to work together collaboratively and as good neighbors during site planning, building, and beyond. On their behalf, she has agreed. We will go on record today saying we will honor such an agreement, and we hope that here today, they will make a commitment to do the same.
They won't.
Knowing that nothing binds either of us but goodwill, honor, and integrity.
They don't have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Developers are going to screw her over. Welcome
Felix
to Austin.
Ramirez, Mario Cantu, and then
If your name's been called, please come forward.
Yes, my name is Felix Ramirez. I'm here to oppose the zoning change from the case 146 in Peyton Road. This is a church, and we are at that church since 1 year ago. But the church was built in 1970. They have been there 54 years ago, till now. And we we try to keep that church. I understand that the owners want to build some apartments, but then we have some demographics for this zone, this zip code. There are 446 apartments in that zip code. And Austin built 23,044 apartments in 2033. And was the third place in the whole country for building apartments. So we try to do community service. We make a lot of improvements in the building and the area. And now we are allowing the neighbors to use the soccer field and basketball court every weekend. So we try to keep that building, that church, because it's from a community service. And I know the apartments are important, but I think churches are important too. There are no more than 10 churches in that zip code, the Latino churches. So there are almost 10 for speaking English people. So I think we try to keep that church working for the community. So we ask the authorities to keep in mind that everything in a city could be in balance. So that's why we are here to put this opposition to that change in that area. God, you know maybe the scriptures, but God's house is a gate of heaven. You just be a part of this, or you just be part of the blessing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Mario Cantu. I'm with Chair of the South Commerce Contact Team. I just want to briefly touch up on the conversations that we've probably had 1,000 times by the last week or month, and it's regarding affordability for our city. It's really important that we understand and that we get support for affordability. And I'm not just talking just affordability, but real affordability for our areas, our city, and for the individuals that are living outside of homes, that are living in the Greenbelt, that are living on South Commerce, that are living in Ben White, they're living in all different places of Austin. And there's animals, there's dogs, there's children, there's mothers, and there's fathers, and there's families. And we need to take care of those individuals. And so I ask that we maximize affordability when the chance comes up to each one of you in your district, that we maximize the affordability in order for us to achieve that goal, that if we're going to have something set up to where we can't move these individuals unless we have this set up over here, what's over here needs to be set up so it's affordable, so that we can have all these individuals that are living in a creek or living in a watershed are able to move over to this area. I ask each and every one of you, especially individuals that they're on the council that have been here before and are here now, that have the experience, that are veterans and know a lot about this, to handle this and take care of this, in a fairly quick time and manner. And also respect that we do have citizens that are working hard to have affordability for this city, and that we reach out to each one of you to get that support. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then speaking on the merits of the postponement for 159, Brad Massingill and Mary Kale.
This item, the proposal is postponed for July 18th, so if you speak on the merits of the postponement.
Great. I appreciate that this has been postponed. I'm on the Board of Preservation Austin, and I chair their advocacy committee.
I need you to state your name. I probably screwed that up by saying something.
That's all right, Mary Kale. And this item is about the Sinnickson House in East Austin. We, at Preservation Austin, we're supporting the postponement. We're happy to do that. We hope that you will vote for historic landmark designation for this property. It's eligible for landmark designation and listing on the National Register, as well as local landmark designation. The staff report for the case identified its old Victorian architectural style, which is becoming increasingly rare in our city, and its historic association with carpenter and builder Charles Sinigson, excuse me. I want to remind people too that properties like the Sinigson House have housed East Austin's working class African American and Mexican American residents for decades. And with each older and historic home we lose, the displacement of these communities is cemented. So when this comes up for vote on July 18th, I would encourage you to support historic landmark designation for it. Thank you so much.
I just want to claim a brain fart. I got a dyslexia and I accidentally signed up for this item. Signed up for 59 and 47. I kind of mixed the two up, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you letting us know.
Save Mystery Creek.
And really appreciate you not just taking a position. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, I've called all the consent speakers.
Great, thank you very much.
Save Mystery Creek.
You've heard
He told me to say
all
Save
the
Mystery
speakers that
Creek.
have signed
You're
up
supposed to
on
say
the
it. I
consent
said it
agenda
earlier.
as was
And 3
read,
fouls after
and
nothing.
there's a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda. Let me ask if there's any discussion with regard to the consent agenda. Is there anyone wishing to be shown abstaining on any item on the consent agenda? Anyone wishing to be shown recusing themselves from an item that's on the consent agenda? Anyone wishing to be shown voting no on any item on the consent agenda? Councilmember Kelly, I'll recognize you.
Thank you very much for recognizing me, sir. I'd like to be shown voting no on 149 and 157. Thank you.
149 is not on the consent agenda, nor is,
Oh my gosh,
nor
I am
is,
so
nor is
sorry,
157. So,
Thank you.
after her hearing all that testimony, you're still a no? I'm done with you. Are you no on any item on the consent agenda?
If 157 and 149 are not on the consent agenda.
They're not. Okay, good, very good. All right, then without objection, and I mean really without objection, the consent agenda is adopted. That will now take us to 149. Ms. Harden, I recognize you.
Okay, I typically do these together, but I'll separate them.
Well, tell me how you want to proceed.
I'll just lay out 149. This is the neighborhood.
Why would you typically do it and now you're not?
I'll defer to the council.
Well, what is it, why is it you would want to do that?
Well, the 3 minutes each items, I would typically just lay it out all at once. Is that how?
Well, feel free to lay them out, but we're gonna have to let people speak.
Okay, that's fine.
on
Then
each
I would
item.
like to do it the same way then, if that's okay with you.
You go for it.
All right, thank you.
We'll follow your lead.
Okay, so item 149 is related to 157. It's NPA 2023-0020.02, 106 and 118 Redbird Lane. The property is located at 106 and 118 Redbird Lane. The NPA case consists of one lot requesting a future land use map plumb change from single family to mixed use. The remaining properties proposed to be rezoned in the related item 157 already identified as mixed use on the future land use map. So again, this is only a plumb change for one lot. While the lot does not have frontage on South Congress Avenue, it is part of a larger proposed unified development for mixed use project which does front South Congress. South Congress Avenue is identified as an activity corridor in the Imagine Austin Comprehensive Plan. The property is highlighted on page 128 of the comprehensive plan as a redevelopment parcel. The site is indicated as part of the compact activity center along South Congress between Old Torp and Stassy Lane, where mixed-use development is supported and could accommodate nearly 15,000 more residents than the existing suburban development pattern that is typical to the area. So again, staff supports the applicant's request of mixed use to the land use map. Moving on to the related item of 157. That case number C14-2023-0034, 5402 South Congress Avenue. The property is located at 106, 116, and 118 Redbird Lane in 5402, 5408, and 5412 South Congress Avenue, and 111 West Mockingbird Lane. It is currently zoned SF2, CSMU-NP, CSMU-CONP, and the applicant is requesting CSMU-B-CO-DB90-NP. The subject rezoning area is approximately 2.72 acres and is located on South Congress Avenue between Redbird Lane and West Mockingbird Lane. The southern portion of the site along Redbird Lane is developed with a single-family resident and a previous automotive sales use, while the northern portion is undeveloped. The applicant is proposing a development that would consist of approximately 250 multifamily units and 9,600 square feet of ground floor pedestrian-oriented uses, and intends to participate in the DB90 Combining District Density Bonus Program, which requires the provision of affordable housing. Staff is recommending CSMU-B-CO-DB90-NP based on the following considerations. Land uses along South Congress Avenue are in transition from undeveloped tracts to those that include mixed use and multifamily residences. There is existing CS zoning located directly across South Congress Avenue as well as south of the property. South Congress Avenue is a core transit corridor, and the site is located within 1/4 of a mile of 3 public transit bus stops. It is currently served by 2 Capital Metro bus routes, including a Metro Rapid bus route, and South Congress Avenue is also designated as a Project Connect corridor for the future extension of the proposed orange line. And with that, I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Council members, have any questions of staff? In that case, without objection, we will open the public hearing on item number 149, and I open the public hearing on item 157. What I'm going to do is ask people, the way we're going to do this is those that are in favor of the item, I'm going to ask to make a 5-minute presentation. Those opposed to the item to make a 5-minute presentation, and then we will go to 3-minute presentations. First those in favor, then those opposed, and then we will allow for a wrap-up and rebuttal. Because both of these items are related, what I'm going to do is ask, I'll let you speak on both of them, but if you can, just speak to the merits of both items in the one time, if that's a possibility. So we will start with a presentation by the applicant. You will have 5 minutes, and then whoever is in opposition, if you will please pick your presenter for a 5-minute presentation in opposition. It's all yours if you're for it.
Awesome. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you for letting me be here today. My name is Amanda Swore on behalf of the owners of the property. I will be brief. Just wanted to show a couple of pictures to what staff was mentioning. So this is the property with Mockingbird on the north, South Congress on the east, and Redbird on the south. Putting into picture what Ms. Harden was mentioning, the one piece that is changing from single-family future land use map to mixed use. You see it in the yellow. It is the kind of the hole in the larger piece that will allow for a unified development of this property. This is a list of conditional overlays. This case was on your agenda back in December. This project was originally submitted in March for the MU2 project. There is a site plan in review. We did have to postpone this to allow DB90 to be passed, and so that is where we are moving forward. This was unanimously recommended at Planning Commission. This really lays out everything that Ms. Harden said. This is a if not here where type of a site. We are located on a core transit corridor on an Imagine Austin corridor within east, west, and north-south rapid transit, not just seldom service lines. This project was, as staff mentioned, originally 250 units. We do have a site plan in. As we've gone through that, it's approximately 275 units. We did work with the neighborhood plan contact team. They asked us to utilize the 50% MFI. So we will be doing 10% of the units at 50% MFI. So this project will provide 28 affordable housing units at 50% MFI in a location of the city that has amazing transit. With that, I respectfully request your support, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Members, you have any questions? Great, thank you. Opposition, please come forward.
I have a presentation. Matthew. The 147, 149 one, sorry, there I go with my dyslexia again. Hi, y'all, I'm Brad Massey, I'm with, the Bird Streets, the Pleasant Hill Exit Group, and, Save Mystery Creek, as well as a board member of, South Boston Creek Alliance. And we're here to, in opposition to this, we have a ballot petition, so we want y'all to take that up today. We, besides the ballot petition, our neighborhood of 70 homes, we ended up with over 45 people signing on to a petition. So it's pretty much unanimous the way that the neighborhood feels about this. I'm going to start with the anatomy of the death of a creek. Back in the 1930s, the Bird Streets was a little 4-square block neighborhood in south of town, way out in the boonies. The neighborhood was the northern end of a huge meadow that is surrounded by present-day Little Turtle Creek to the north and west, and Old San Antonio Highway on the east. The creek on the left is our Mystery Creek. It flowed from south of present-day William Cannon north to the Bird Streets neighborhood and onto Little Turtle Creek, a tributary of Williamson Creek. All the development in the subdivision south of Stassen have been built on top of the old stream bed, and the 2 companion creeks are long since vanished. All that remains of a once miles-long creek is a 3-block-long section traveling from south side of Redbird Lane to Little Turtle Creek. There's a small artesian spring at the 300 block of Redbird Lane. It's about 120 feet from the 106 Redbird Lane property Mystery Creek traverses on its way to Williamson Creek. The critical environmental feature is well within the 150-foot perimeter prescribed by the city's environmental department. The close proximity of this spring to Mystery Creek means it as well is a critical environmental feature, since the only path for the spring's outflow is via Mystery Creek through the 106 Redbird Lane property on its way to Williamson Creek. It is the only way to Williamson Creek. The creek at the, wait, one more, sorry. The creek edge at 106 Redbird is home to one of the largest cottonwoods in South Austin. Cottonwood trees are great indicators of nearby springs. This massive cottonwood tells us Mystery Creek is spring-fed. As a spring-fed ephemeral stream, Mystery Creek is protected by state law. Any efforts to block, divert, or channel it are forbidden by some of the oldest laws on the books. Our neighborhood has been successful at defending Mystery Creek from proposed developments in past decades. Little Ford Apartments, pictured here, had to shrink its proposed footprint when it was pointed out that it was too close to the creek. A national self-storage company dropped their plans for the property when the creek was brought to their attention. We've also called in heritage oaks and pecan trees on the 5400 South Congress site that were being illegally chopped down. We have video, same developer. And the historic bungalows on this property were illegally destroyed, and the rubble was piled directly on top of Mystery Creek. Looking for the right picture here. There it is. Along with the mountain of sawdust the chopped trees created, this massive debris pile started the inevitable sedimentation of Mystery Creek. Add the fallen limbs from the last 2 major freezes and you have a veritable dam backing up floodwater into the neighborhood. In addition, Mystery Creek catching all the sediment flowing down from Redburn Lane. It is dying a slow death by stagnation. That brings me to my original statement, the anatomy of the death of a creek. There's an ephemeral creek flowing under massive trees that soak up lots of water and potential flood water and create shade canopy that cools the immediate area by several degrees. Chop down the huge water storing trees and pile debris in the path of the creek. C, add rain and spring water. Now you have water backing up just like a beaver dam. It stagnates and goes wide and flat, at which point sediment starts filling in the creek bed. This is the current situation on Redbird Lane. Water backing up. I didn't know I could do video. I would have done more of that. Anyway, the creek flattens out entirely, sending sheets of floodwater into the neighborhood properties.
I'm sorry, sir, but your initial time has expired.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Members, I may have been unclear on what I was saying. We opened both public hearings because they're related. Because we're trying to operate where people get to speak on both items. What I was trying to say was they will have the opportunity to speak on both items, which means they basically get 6 minutes. But I was pleading with them that if they don't need the full 6 minutes, that they use whatever time they might otherwise need. So if you'll do it that way, I appreciate it. Now we're going to hear from people that are in favor of this item.
Mayor, there is no one signed up in favor.
Fair enough. Easiest 6 minutes we've had so far.
Save Mystery Creek.
For item 149, Tanya Payne, and then Thomas Robinson.
If they've only signed up on one item, it's 3 minutes. If they've signed up on both, it's 6 minutes.
Okay, moving on to those who signed up for both items. Lindsay Steeples, Thomas Hendricks, Andrea McCartney.
If your name's been called, please come to the front. If it's an empty microphone, you own it. So go for it.
Hello, my name is Tanya Payne, and I live in District 5, and I will be very fast today for you. I encourage you to vote no on this development proposal. I know that you're interested in flooding by your actions today. I know you're concerned about water quality and air quality, biodiversity, especially in your upcoming bond proposal for the environment. This is an opportunity to get it cheap. You could just vote no and maintain the spring and protect the lands around it. So encourage them to just have something slightly smaller. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hang on. That's not how it operates.
Apparently, we weren't aware that if I took 5 minutes tonight, it would double the time.
That's right. Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak, ma'am?
So she can speak, but he can't speak. Because that's just not how they want to work it.
What items has she signed up on?
Both 149 and 157.
So you'll have up to 6 minutes.
Okay, I'm continuing with it. Mystery Creek, my name's Andrea McCartney, I live on Redbird Lane.
Thank you.
Mystery Creek's in a dilapidated state, it's in deplorable condition. It wasn't before the current property owner's actions impacted it so negatively. For the applicant to claim this is not a creek and worthy of our protection is a fabricated scenario of their own making. Rewarding such behavior with bonus programs and the like seems patently unfair to the neighborhood and an affront to our natural heritage and the trees we love so much. At a time when the city's preparing to embark on a climate equity plan with estimates of over $1 billion to be spent on the acquisition of green space, to let this property lead the protection of our neighborhood plan for the TOD would be an act of sheer hypocrisy. Mystery Creek is a major asset to our neighborhood and the city, as are all the unnamed creeks and ephemeral streams around town, allowing us to go forward knowing the importance these capillaries have on our greater watershed circulatory system is to ignore the fact that we already have some of the things we need to overcome the looming climate catastrophe. Destroying parts of nature we already have to pursue a technological or real estate fueled fix to these problems is not a healthy way to proceed. Please deny this request to amend the future land use map and our neighborhood plan. Thank you.
They're gonna let him speak.
Betsy Greenberg,
I know.
Lauren Ross, M. Kinch, Soul Praxis. After Soul is Bill Oliver, Julie Woods, Julian Reyes.
Speaking.
Soul signed up for both items, so 6 minutes.
Okay, guess I'll go up there.
Hello, Soul Praxis, District 3. I'm reading this on behalf of Brad Massimo. I woke up the night before last to find 10 fire trucks surrounding the property at 5400 block of South Congress. There were 20 firefighters out there. If it hadn't been a rainy day, the fire in that structure could have easily spread throughout our neighborhood, and I might be homeless right now. The house on the 106 Redburn Lane property has been squatted in, on, and off for the last 6 years. When the applicant bought that house, it was for a perfectly good house. I knew the owner and he maintained it well. It is now halt. The applicant is claiming it is an abandoned house. It is not abandoned, it is not being maintained by the applicant. They have been letting it fall into disrepair so that they can claim it is an abandoned house when it comes time to demolish it. Since it's over 50 years old, it's a historic structure and will need a special permit to take down. The same is true of the structure that caught fire this week. We've had a spate of mail thievery going on in our neighborhood. Turns out the mail stealers have been holding up in other properties on Redbird Lane. We've also been hearing tales of other properties the applicant owns. One such property apparently had at least 30 people squatting there with no electricity or water, and the neighborhood is concerned. The owners seem to be ignoring the problem. They apparently have unrented units all over town with no sort of systematic security. Something else to consider. Before considering giving a density bonus to a project that will yield only a handful of slightly affordable units, the 106 Redbird Lane property, thanks to the newly passed Homes Initiative, this lot could sustain over 40 truly affordable units. If the goal is to get more affordability close to the core, this option would allow this property to stay in our neighborhood. Micro cabins and affordable housing seems like a much better fit. The applicant may claim undue hardship due to the amount of effort and energy they put into designing and sitting on this project. But the fact of the matter is, this is the third site plan for this particular parcel. Several years ago, the initial project manager actually came over to my house to talk to me about the project they were proposing, and I was asking for my input. We walked the property and we talked about making sure the creek was included in their plans. They were definitely acknowledging the creek's existence at that point. He got back to me, telling me that they had decided to put in a green space that included the creek and would be a great amenity to the proposed project, a project that would have been much smaller. It would have been an appropriate sized project, with our neighborhood being taken into consideration. I think subsequent siting attempts that lure of the density bonus housing offered with affordability unlocked made them change their mind and decide to upzone the property instead. It's at this point they put all their eggs in one basket. The original plan was something that could actually have been accomplished and most likely completed by now, but the temptation of these extra stories was too much for them to resist. That's on them. They decided to take a gamble and shoot for a larger return on investment on this property without doing their homework. If they had done their homework, they would have realized the neighborhood has successfully defended Mystery Creek on several occasions, not to mention the fact that the previous project manager acknowledged the creek in earlier discussions. They know it was there, yet they went ahead with their plan anyway. They should have known better in the past. I worked as an administrative assistant to a venture capitalist, and one of the things I learned in that job was to do your due diligence, and there's no such thing as a guaranteed return on investment. Unfortunately for this outfit, they forgot the simple lessons and went full speed ahead without actually having a clear path to accomplish what they were trying to do. They should have quit when they were ahead and made something that would have been appropriate. The neighborhood has nothing to do with any of their decision making. We will gain nothing from this and have everything to lose. The irony is, no matter what happens, in my personal situation, I will be surrounded by new construction at some point in the near future, no matter what. I've got no problems with that there are vacant lots on 3 sides of me. It's gonna happen. I'm going to be surrounded at some point. I'm definitely not doing this for myself. This project might not even be finished by the time I'm 75 years old. I just turned 65, so I'm not worried about my taxes going up. So you might ask yourself, why am I going to all this effort? Just to be obstinate or stubborn? The truth of the matter is I care deeply about the environment, and ignoring these issues will be leaving an even bigger mess for future generations. When they find themselves in an unlivable city with no water, no trees, susceptible to flash flooding and fires, with an inability to insure their homes as insurance companies pull out of the market due to potential climate catastrophe payouts they can no longer afford. You can't transfer Title I in Texas without insurance. We need to consider future generations. We need to take the time and spend the effort to locate all these minuscule pieces of our environment and enshrine them in some way to make them inviolable into the future. Future generations are counting on us to do the right thing. Past generations failed to notice or act on issues that are affecting us today. Let's not be the unsolvable problem of future generations. Our Native American friends teach us to look out for the future up to 7 generations. We need to take that lesson to heart. People like to say, keep Austin weird. I think some of us would like to see, keep Austin flowing. Save Mystery Creek.
Thank you, Brad. And I just want to add, on behalf of Community Card ATX, that we also oppose this change. I know that we hear council talk about, oh, we're going to help with flood insurance after we already passed the home initiative or other things that worsen flooding. We're going to do things for climate resilience after we destroy trees that actually provide shade and climate resilience and allow our neighborhoods to stay somewhat insulated from the extreme heat, the extreme weather events that we're seeing. I think we're all very tired of just hearing talk about how council is going to try to mitigate a problem that they've created. And so I hope you won't create another problem and destroy Mystery Creek.
Hello again, City Council. Save Mystery Creek and Free Palestine. So I'm against any development at this point that tears down trees.
Sorry, but you need to identify yourself.
Julian Reyes, I'm a member of the press. So I'm against any development at this point when we haven't had an audit to see how much of the campaign contributions for all the city council members and the mayor were provided by developers. We've had problems with PO Renteria in the past, a past city council member that got over $100,000 in donations from the developers that destroyed Riverside. There's a condo right there on South Congress off Redbird, and it's pretty new, it's in the last few years, and it has degraded the environment there. At the same time, there was low-income housing, basically a shantyville that was destroyed that Brad Massengill that mentioned when they're cutting, the videos of them cutting down trees and all that, when we're having environmental problems in Austin. It keeps getting hotter and hotter. You cannot cut down trees for developers. That's not helping anything. We have a heat signature where all the storms go around us or burn up because we're just like a big processor heat conductor inside of a computer with all these skyscrapers and glass and concrete downtown. We're affecting the weather, our local weather. We're affecting my gardens. We're affecting the environment, the ability for the aquifer to recharge. We really don't seem to have we have environmental talk, but we don't have environmental action. What the developers are doing is they're buying, they're not even Austinites. Let's just admit that most of the developers, unlike the Guadalupe group that we talked to earlier, that spoke earlier, most of these developers are from out of town, like Dominion and stuff, and I know you know who I'm talking about because you probably all got checks from them. They are not Austinites. They're developing our city and hyper-developing our inflation to where we can't afford to live here, and it's directly impacted by the zoning and development changes that y'all make, and that you continue to make without proper citizen input. We were supposed to have 5 or 6 minutes. It gets reduced. I'm a former environmental scientist from Baylor University. I've tested water through Texas Watch and through as an environmental scientist all over the state of Texas, groundwater, pollution, hazardous waste. And I just, all I see is the city going after people of color and of poverty, cutting down massive amounts of trees and fields to get to people, destroying parks, destroying literally old parks that they don't want to, and giving them to developers to create more apartments. We don't need more apartments. We don't have a housing shelter. Y'all can stop that lie. There are plenty of houses in Southwest Austin that were just built. Thousands of houses. There's plenty of empty condos and buildings. The city literally has hundreds and hundreds of acres and buildings that y'all don't even use. There's lots of opportunities to house people, and especially the low income. I'm really tired of hearing about the affordable housing. That doesn't mean anything. That's not actually a metric. The metric is low income housing. It's part of the housing and urban development, the HUD. It's part of the tax code. It's the law. So low income has a ceiling where you're exempt from taxes if you don't make enough money. And affordable housing, again, is the yuppies that we want to bring in, that you keep inviting over and giving tax incentives to people like the Domain and to the Riverside. We've seen how the development works, where thousands of people are displaced of low income and people that are minorities. Every minority on this Cheeto, all of you guys, Quadri, all of you guys, y'all need to defend minorities because you're whitening the city. You're part of the whitening of the city where it's for rich white people only. The other thing I want to mention is with the creeks and the streams in Austin and what Adler was telling us with the boil water notices. So literally what we had was contamination of the water, not sediment. You cannot boil out sediment and sand out of your water. That didn't make any sense. That was a lie. What we have is contaminated waterways because the sewers are placed in the creek, and I heard someone speak about that earlier. And that was an economic thing. It's easier to use gravity-fed sewers and put them in our green belts and down in our creek beds, but that needs to be undone. Now we've got to spend billions of dollars to undo that because you're polluting our environment. And the water is not safe for an animal to be in, not safe for a dog to drink without dying, not safe for a human being to be in without getting a freshwater amoeba and give them a brain aneurysm. We've created a dirty, nasty city, and we haven't done enough on education and to tell people stop polluting. We haven't done a lot of educational reach out to not mess with Texas. And you guys are messing with Texas, you're messing with Austin, and I'm against all of that stuff. So save Mystery Creek and free Palestine. That's the card, man. You gonna sing a song?
Fran Tattoo,
Fran's not here.
Cindy Reed, Alexia LeClerc,
Can I tell him?
Chris Page.
It's hard to come up with all stuff down here. I should have a speech.
Are you Bill Oliver? Yep, come on down. 6 minutes.
That name's so he played. He was at the concert.
California.
Stairway to Heaven.
I've been in District 3 for over 50 years, right? Mayor knows. Yeah. Welcome to Austin. Hope I'm not the obligatory comedian for the day. I am here in support of Mystery Creek in the Birch Street neighborhood. From my earliest memory, 3 years old, getting a spanking from my mother for wading in the creek in Webster Grove, St. Louis, Missouri, the creek near our house. It wasn't so much the wading part, it was the winter. I came in late. But I was about 3 years old and was bonding with that very close with that creek nearby, a very small creek, about the size of Mystery Creek. And fast forward 5 or 6 years later, we're in Houston, Southwest Houston, Briar Grove neighborhood, and the Briar Grove ditch called. And We went down to the Briarcrook ditch and you could see turtles and frogs down there. Whenever your parents, it was a great place to take Huckleberry Finn and guitar and Chuck Berry. That creek went all the way to Buffalo Bayou, which was pretty spooky. Most of the time, we were at the local creek. It was a ditch to most people, but to us, short people, those places are as profound as the tall buildings are to the rich people that are building out over there, wiping out those little creeks.
That's what I said.
Now the sun comes up and the birds are singing free to celebrate the rain, the magic of Mystery Creek. It's the battle for Bird Streets on Pleasant Hill. There's a South Austin neighborhood that's living still. Battle for Bird Streets on Mockingbird. Bird Streets, red, bird, and blue. Battle for Bird Streets and Mystery Creek. Battle for Bird Streets, Little Turtle Creek too. Bird Streets, Bird Streets. But the sun's going down and the condos are going up. Some people barely get by. Some people can't get enough. It's the battle of Bird Streets on Pleasant Hill. Tell the Oracle of Austin, build someplace else. Battle for Bird Streets, Mockingbird. Bird Streets, red, bird, and blue. Battle for Bird Streets, for the Mystery Creek. Battle for Bird Streets, Little Turtle Creek too. Battle for Bird Streets, Bird Streets.
Yeah! Save Mystery Creek!
With all due respect, I'd like to acknowledge that last speaker. That was a really pretty song. Thank you for that. Because I have to step away to take care of a personal health issue. If I missed a vote, can we reconsider, please?
Well, we will at an appropriate time.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. No apologies to the drifters on that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Item 157, Georgiana Thompson. Check the note really quickly.
Ms. Thompson? Okay.
Mayor, I've called all the speakers for 149 and 157.
All right, in that case, what we will do is ask Mr. Massengill to come forward and close on behalf of those opposed to the item, and then we'll have summation in favor. You have 3 minutes.
The Bird Streets neighborhood and our friends here with us today, we're not anti-development people, but it's people that are concerned about how we as a city handle our existing environmental assets, specifically our springs and ephemeral creeks. We're also concerned about the size of this project and others like it throughout town. They're being placed in older neighborhoods without infrastructure to handle such large undertakings, especially when the applicant, in this case, does not seem to care or want to understand the dynamics of our neighborhood and the potential impacts of 275 multifamily unit project on our tiny 70-home neighborhood. We have 10 new kids in our neighborhood, newborns, toddlers, school-age kids. We want our streets to stay relatively safe. 270 units is an awful lot of drivers on our streets. With the new dividing median on South Congress, anyone leaving the site will be forced to use our streets to go north, since turning left onto Congress is no longer an option. North is where all the work is. When I'm walking my dogs, I routinely meet new people walking in our neighborhood from adjacent neighborhoods. They'll have the same comment. They love walking around the corner into our neighborhood because it feels like all of a sudden they're out in the country. When I mention our neighborhood to people that have been here, they all have the same comment. We love that neighborhood. If you haven't been, then maybe you don't know it, but the Bird Streets neighborhood is a little slice of Austin from the 40s. It's so green and full of birds and wildlife. To ignore these facts is basically to ignore the fact that any neighborhood in Austin has a distinct character, flavor, or vibe. Why is that phrase so prominent in city code if it doesn't have any meaning? The distinct character of the Bird Streets neighborhood would be irreversibly changed by allowing a project of this size to proceed. A smaller project located toward the front of the South Congress with adequate allowance for Mystery Creek and its easement would be more appropriate. Installing limestone barricades on Redbird and Mockingbird lanes could protect the Bird Streets and our neighborhood from these encroachments. We also don't want any more large trees destroyed. The fact that the applicant still hasn't paid up for the earlier infractions regarding the heritage trees chopped down on this side 6 years ago doesn't make us rest any easier. Their lack of judgment has been the hallmark of their tenure as our neighbor. To emphasize this theme, there's the matter of the structures on the property, which we went into earlier. This property has been totally neglected for the past 6 years. This is a third site plan. The first one was fairly reasonable. The second one, I think, was probably reasonable as well, but as soon as the density bonus of affordability came along, they dropped that plan and went for this, and now we're stuck defending Mystery Creek. So please save Mystery Creek and
Save Mystery Creek!
Thank you. Although most of these items are site plan items, not zoning items, what we've been talking about is land use and the appropriate place for that. We do have a site plan, and at this point in time, we know that there's not enough drainage area that goes with this to actually make it a creek. It is far less than 64 acres, which constitutes creek at 7. As the environmental staff said at Planning Commission, they have sent somebody out to the site. Their determination is that there are no CEFs on the property. We are designing this to save trees and really bring more neighbors to this neighborhood and provide housing in this area of town that is exactly what is appropriate. I'm happy to answer any questions, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Members, those are all the people who signed up to speak, and we've had a closing by those in opposition and by those in favor. Without objection, we will close the public hearings on item 149 and 157. Public hearings are closed. What the chair intends to do is take up a motion on those items separately. But before we take up any motion, let me recognize Councilmember Velasquez, followed by the Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there anybody from Watershed here? Mind coming up for a second? I was just curious if you could help illuminate some of the concerns or the city's position on some of the concerns that the communities had, and also some of the statements that Ms. Orr made towards the end of her testimony.
Yes, generally I'm gonna just highlight and then I'll pass it on to our staff members. They get more technical, but a lot of the concerns that you heard are items normally we will see through a site plan process. This is a zoning case. We don't actually get into the specifics of that. So I'm gonna pass it on to Leslie Lilly to speak on that.
Hello, Leslie Lilly, Acting Environmental Officer for Watershed. Related to this property, based on staff field visits and an analysis of the conditions of the site, there is not any classified waterway on this site. There's no floodplain on the property, and there is no identifiable critical environmental features on the site or within 150 feet, which is the buffered area that we use to base our environmental protection regulations on.
Thank you.
It's a lie. It's a lie. It's inaccurate information.
Cut it out.
So
Cut
the
it out.
water is potentially
Dickhead.
runoff? It sounds like the grading of the geography there, could you maybe speak to that? And I know it's been raining a lot, so.
Great, Leslie Lilly, Watershed
Thanks, I
Protection.
respect
The
my
water
dad.
that runs through the channel on site
it's not at this point determined maybe where that water is from. We wouldn't make any kind of assessment like that at a zoning case stage. We would potentially assume that it is runoff from adjacent properties or just conveying through the site from off-site drainage.
Thank you. And I think I have one other question for Ms. Harden. Ms. Harden, when you were reading this case into the record, there were a whole lot of initials. And if you could reiterate those. Oh, yeah. The zoning that exists on this site currently is what I'd like to have us reminded about. And then I'll ask you what that means.
Okay, yes, there's a lot. They have a SF2, single family residence zoning, CSMU. So they want to keep that same base zoning district moving forward, but add the DB90 to allow for the density bonus. So they have a CSMU, and then they have a portion that is CSMU COUP, and that has a conditional overlay. Some of their conditional overlay uses are moving forward on this site as well.
And so basically, can this site be redeveloped?
Yes.
This summer?
Yes.
And so
with the, well, I guess with both zonings, but yes, with the DB90, is that?
So the site can already be developed, and what being asked to do is to add some height, and also, you mentioned DB90, which is the affordability piece.
Correct, so yes, now I understand better. So they want to do a unified development. And so instead of having 3 separate zoning classifications, and 2 of those zoning classifications on the site already have a base zoning district of CS. So it's just that one parcel that they need the future land use map change and adjunct to the CS. And so, yes, so 2 of the 3 already have the base zoning, but they are asking to have a base zoning of CS on all of them, MUD, and the DB90, and if you develop to the DB90, as all of you know, you would have to develop to the density bonus with the affordable housing provisions.
And so that's the piece that's a real plus for the city, right, is the affordable housing.
Correct. In order that they're asking for that, in order to build to any additional heights, then they would have to develop to the affordable housing piece. Absolutely.
And I think you pointed out that this property is just off of South Congress Avenue, is that correct?
Correct. I think some of it fronts South Congress is up. Correct. Some of it fronts South Congress. The only piece that's just right off South Congress is the piece that they have the SF2. That as they do the unified development, the access and all of that will be on the Court Transit roadway.
Great. And that was what I wanted to focus on, the appropriateness of this development on the site.
With the transit, et cetera.
Right, and the affordability component is a big piece for this ties. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Pro Tem. Any other questions of staff? Councilmember Velasquez? Well, then what we'll do is we'll go back to item number 149, and the chair will entertain a motion to approve the staff and planning commission recommendation to grant the applicant's request for mixed-use land use. Is there a motion made by Councilmember Velasquez, seconded by Councilmember Bailey? Is there discussion on that item?
Including the mayor.
Is there any objection?
Didn't even win Travis County.
Without objection, the item is adopted with Councilmember Kelly being shown voting no on the item.
Time for a lawsuit,
Members,
y'all.
that will take and
Sue the shit out of the
Councilmember Kelly
city.
being shown voting no, and Councilmember Allison Alter being off the dais and not participating virtually.
And all due respect, Mr. Mayor, I'm also virtual, but I was not.
I understand that. I counted you as a yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember Alter is not present on the dais or virtually right now is what I was trying to say.
I just want to say for the record, because I know there were some questions, this required a supermajority of 9 votes, and it did receive the 9 votes. Just
149 did not, but 157 will. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to move to 157, which will require a supermajority for it to pass. So let's go on to, excuse me. Item number 157 is the zoning item, And so we will now take that up. Is there a motion to approve the staff and planning commission recommendation? Motion made by Councilmember Vela, seconded by Councilmember Cotton. Is there discussion with regard to item 157? Without objection, item number 157 is approved, with Councilmember Mackenzie Kelly being shown voting no on 157 and Councilmember Allison Alter being absent.
It's for show.
All right? Now, members, Councilmember Harper Madison was not present for voting purposes when we passed the zoning consent agenda. She is asked to be shown voting in favor of the zoning consent agenda. I'll move that she be shown voting in favor of the consent agenda. It is seconded by Councilmember Velasquez. Is there any discussion? Without objection, Councilmember Harper Madison will be shown voting in favor of the consent agenda as it was adopted. Her vote does not change the outcome of the vote. Thank you, Councilmember, for calling that to my attention. Members, that will now take us to item number 183. And Ms. Harden, I'll ask you to come forward and
Nope, I don't think it's mine.
represent item number 183.
No.
Neighborhood
plan.
Department, this is item 214-2023, 06 record. The request is to have LI, from LI to LIPDA, and I am going to defer to Councilmember Bella on.
Well, I'll tell you what, let me do that part of it, if you don't mind. I just want to make sure if anybody has any questions, that they can ask the questions with regard to 183. Members, what I'd like to do is get a motion, and then Councilmember Taylor has a proposed amendment.
Watershed protections in the morning. They're just going along. Leaders don't.
The way we'll do this is he has a motion. I'll recognize Councilmember Vela for a motion, and as part of that motion for the items that he's provided to you in the yellow sheet to be a part of that motion. Councilmember Vela, you're recognized on item 183.
Thank you, Mayor, and I would move to approve item 183.
He moves to approve item number 183 with the allowance of the maximum height of 150 feet, and the allowance of a maximum FAR of 3 to 1.
I'm gonna go talk to Brad.
Public comment? Do we have anyone signed up on item 183?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Members, there's no one signed up. Let me do it this way. I'll open the public hearing on item number 183. The motion has been made. We've also recognized that there's no one signed up to speak, so without objection, we'll open the public hearing.
Item 112, the DAC local court item, and we're in support of the Austin for Palestine Coalition to ask for council to take action, as many cities have, to stop the genocide in Palestine. Today, I'll focus my comments on item 181. Thank you so much to Councilmember Fuentes, Councilmember Harper Madison, and Councilmember Alter, and the members of the Public Health and Housing Committees for moving forward a motion last week to improve rapid rehousing programs in Austin. Austin's rapid rehousing programs provide short-term rental assistance and market rate housing for people exiting homelessness. This program simply isn't working for so many people who are exiting homelessness in our city. Many Austinites who have qualified for permanent supportive housing end up living in rapid rehousing and languish there without any of the supportive services that they need. Many face a revolving door back into homelessness after 6 to 12 months when the rapid rehousing ends and they have to take over their market of $1,400, $1,600, $1,700 even. And while this program is an imperfect program, it's a very critical intervention that we rely on in Austin, which is why we've been organizing to fix it, and why we're so happy to see this resolution move forward today. We launched a campaign back in April to fix rapid rehousing and win housing for the poor. Local leaders are here. You'll hear from several of them today about all of the work that they've done to move the needle on this. We've met with your offices, we've testified at City Hall, we've hosted town halls. So we're very happy to see this happening today. And we're asking that the City Council pass item 181. They're great drafters in the motion. or in the resolution, but it specifically speaks to two things that our members have been raising. One, that the rapid rehousing rental assistance is far too brief, and we need to ensure that 24 months of assistance is offered to people. And two, that many people housed in rapid rehousing often need supportive services and qualify for permanent supportive services. So we need to be bridging those people into the permanent supportive housing that they qualify for in the first place. We ask that you pass item 181 today, and we hope to see the City Council match this resolution with urgent investments in rapid rehousing to ensure 24 months of rental assistance and funding for the services for the permanent supportive housing units that are coming online this year. We really need to see those funds matched through the budget session, and we'll be back to talk to you about that soon. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Julian Reyes, Tony Carter.
Good afternoon, members. My name is Tony Carter. I'm a team leader and one of the organizers with Vocal Texas. I'm glad to be here today. I was homeless for 7 years before I got into the rapid rehousing program. I didn't even know anything about it while I was homeless. Me and my fiance Jennifer returning house in rehousing. I was unhoused. I first came homeless. After that, I stayed in other places. I did stay in the Salvation Army when I first became homeless, and it didn't work out. Before I got rapid, we had been staying out in the woods because all of the Austin APD and DPS come sweeping camps, moving us further and further back. And I had done the housing assessment a bunch of times, but I never scored high enough, even though I struggled with drug use and mental health. Even though last December, I even went to treatment. I should be in permanent supported housing where I can get more service and support. The last assessment I did, I had to do it with Jennifer, which is my fiance. In 2023, I had someone in December come to me and said, "You have it." I didn't know what they was talking about, and it was from a family elder care saying that they got me into the program. So right now, I'm in an apartment that they put me in. I'm paying $1,700 a month, and it's only for 12 months. So I don't know what I would be doing. I would be doing after that. Because with my two jobs, I cannot afford $1,700 a month plus a family. Even though I work two jobs, my case manager told me to find a different apartment because I can't afford the rent. Luckily, I just received housing choice voucher. HUD just gave me a 1-year voucher for permanent housing yesterday. Woo! I think it is, rapid rehousing is good for some people, but it's not all what it's cut up to be. Rapid rehousing, people jump on it real quick just so they can get a roof over their head, but there are people that works with them, the case managers and stuff, is not physically trained in what they do because they are told one thing and then we have to do another. But
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. Thank you.
You can go ahead, man. You can go ahead.
After Julian is Kate Grazimia, and
Is that
then
you?
Laura Ann Martinez.
Why don't you go ahead? You need a hand? Yeah.
Mayor Watson, Mayor Principal, and the city council members. My name is Laura Ann Martinez, and I'm leadership in a grassroots organization, Vocal Texas, and I'm here as a member of Councilwoman Fuentes' district. We are fighting for the rights of an or underrepresented population. As an unhoused person worried about when and if you eat again, or whether you're gonna sleep in a bed again, I don't think that, I didn't think I could stand up for my rights as an unhoused person. But as a previously unhoused person, I feel uniquely qualified to address item number 181 on the agenda. After my participation in the rapid rehousing program, I suffered a second time of being unhoused, which was a result of my dismissal from the program because of not cooperating with the program rules. The rule that I broke was not to save $600 a month of my less than $1,100 a month income. Now, during the second part of homelessness, I was able to obtain my permanent supportive housing, and therefore which I still live in today. And I just recently celebrated a year of being in that program. I'm very thankful for having permanent supportive housing, and I really think, though, that the programs need to, the services need to be continued all the way through until we receive our permanent supportive housing, because going out and becoming homeless again is very, very, very hard. I feel like that this is something that you need to tell this city, these communities, these individuals, that the city cares about all of its populations. Whether popular or not, that you care. Please vote yes to item 181, and to extend the length of the rapid rehousing program to reach the bridge to permanent supportive housing. Thank you.
Hello again, City Council. Can you hear me? All right. Julian Reyes. I'm a member of the press. So actually, I'm a member of the Challenger Street newspaper for 12 years. As most of you guys know, most of you have been read the paper. If not, you should. There's lots of stories about things that people that the city steps on experience. We're evicted through the city, through the county, things like that, through COVID evictions and whatnot. The moratorium has been lifted, I mean. So I spent like 20 years on and off the streets, homeless. The city saw fit to send police to shoot my dog while I was homeless in cold blood. I've been through all of this stuff. I've been documenting the city's brutal sweeps of people of color, indigent people for, I don't know, 8 years or something. The city and DPS and the constables, all involved, the sheriff's department, all involved in displacing and debilitating people to death, with the death toll of 300 to 500 or more people per year killed on the streets of Austin due to city policies. I'm actually against 181 because, are we on 181? Yeah, okay, let's make sure. So many items. Because of the person that's going to be speaking in the video, but like I met a man that had permanent supportive housing. The system failed him. Now he owes $15,000. He's $15,000 in debt after his eviction. This man you're about to listen to right now, his name is Jack, and he's in a North Austin community. He's been through rapid rehousing, and he's being abandoned. The city's turned, or the Austin Urban League has turned off several people, including his electricity. He has had no air conditioning the entire time he's been there. There's a whole apartment complex of people about to be evicted through this rapid rehousing project. Go ahead and play the video and let it play through.
Play through.
All the way.
I've got a few days, I got a eviction notice now. Of course, I get housing through Southbridge, which is through the city, which is through AU, whatever.
The rapid rehousing, right?
Came in on December 24th, I believe, and there was something like that, a little bit after Christmas. And under the free camps that we were in, originally they told us we get a 3-year rent, so we get our fee. And then it went to 3 months, and after 3 months, you pay 10%, 4th month, you pay 10%, 5th month, we 15, it goes up 5% every month, which is fine until you pay the whole thing. Just keep people on their feet. I got a 3-day eviction notice yesterday. It says advance notice to vacate for non-payment of rent, utilities, or other sums. My name and address, speeding notice to vacate for not payment of rent, these contract dates, April 19, 2024.
So you're not gonna let the video play out?
No, the time limit is passed.
Okay. See you in court.
Eli Cortez, Maria Cepeda, Derek
Just a
Cortez,
test. Okay, I'm thinking.
Garmin, Taylor Cartwright,
I knew that.
Alfredo Reyes Jr.,
Members, editors at Library Housing, including myself. I was homeless for 7.5 years, sleeping underneath a bridge. I originally got my accredited assessment in jail. I was offered, they were promised me the permanent housing. Instead, I got the, I separated for housing, but I feel like we got it together, can be safe, you're gonna get houses. I'm not the only one who has been struggling with the Library Housing. I'm here to tell you about the survey project local Texas leaders completed in March. For months, we were talking about the challenges people were facing in Library Housing. So we decided to survey people and gather more data. We were searching for numbers and we wanted to hear directly from the people about their experience with Library Housing and the problems they were facing, like myself. So for 3 weeks, local Texas leaders spoke to dozens of people, insurance providers, the library, the streets, and the housing development. And we went to different locations, and it was the same story. Different people have the same problem with Library Housing. Here's some of the feedback we heard. The majority of the people were surveyed received Library Housing for less than a year, and they were expected to take over their full market rate rent, often $1.200 to $1.500. When people were expected to take over the rent or even portion of the rent, this led to people being kicked out of the program and being evicted. Many people reported being denied housing or struggling to find housing due to eviction histories. Many other people mentioned challenges due to family needs, child care, paying child support, lack of access to transportation, mental and physical health needs, lack of services and case management, and discrimination. We published some of the stories on our survey project and dropped it off at your office. Today, we're asking you to vote yes on item 181 to fix Library Housing and invest in the bridge to permanent housing. No one should be in a house and go out through the struggles like I have. I speak for myself and for the unhoused community of Austin and we the people. Thank you.
They don't give a shit. To another morons that this resolution is going to help people when the city's done nothing but hurt people. You can't believe them to help people.
Quick reminder to y'all that many members of the disproportionately black unhoused community in Austin were made homeless due to previous gentrification policies passed by your predecessors, like the desired development zone. And someday someone will say the same about the home initiative and other upzonings y'all granted for developers and investors. Not one of them. Back to the elders' experience.
Ready?
City manager office?
City manager. Yeah, there's about 1 million of them.
There's a lot of them.
See you later, Count-Two. So I made a lot of new friends today, saw some old friends, and the city council does not give a shit about people's lives.
You saw the controlled opposition.
You saw controlled opposition from Vocal Texas here. They're working with people who are grifters that grift the city, that work with the police to displace people, specifically Fran Tattoo in Denver. Yeah, just a bunch of trolls. Just a bunch of trolls. Everything around here is part of the Fusion Center, part of the spy network, and the city spends unlimited resources disrupting groups and making them go along with their propositions. There's no way I'm going along with that proposition. Not in a million years.
Why don't these groups go along with the proposition? initiative.
Yeah.
I would say vote yes for the.
Vote yes for everything the city's doing to oppress the homeless. And don't mention the sweeps. Don't mention the sweeps. Because that's how they force you into the rapid rehousing. Which rapid rehousing actually puts you in a police hotel, which we used to call a police hotel, now run by Austin Area Urban League. And they're knocking people out, violating people's rights, killing people, fucking doing drugs, everything. AAUL is doing everything. I've heard stories of members of AAUL smoking crack with people. I tried to play the video of Jack, who's being evicted through the rapid rehousing. He's being evicted back on the streets with like, I don't know, 40, 50 other people at a North Austin apartment, and they cut it off. They don't want to hear it at all. You get 5 minutes to talk about serious issues that impact people's lives. And yeah, it's disgusting. Anyways, vote no on city council. Vote them out, shut them down, surround them, go to their homes. See you later.